like every single step is going to add on to the one prior to it, right? So you're going to get there. But it's that avatar persona, it's the problem, the cause, the message, the uniqueness, right? Those are the main components that we are focused on over these 2 days that we really want you to nail. So problem and cause. During this session and the time that you will spend in your small groups, you guys are going to identify and name your one-word problem. Problem does not have an S on the end of it, right? This is where people sometimes get stuck. You're like, Elizabeth, I solved so many problems. I get it. So do I, all the time. But I know there's one that I can solve better than anyone else, right? It's the consistent one. Someone's coming to me for it often in my personal and professional life. There is a clear through line and I can name it, right? And my avatar knows it too. So one word problem. And you're going to do that by doing the problem word cloud exercise, right? Some of you have already started that. Maybe you've ideated some of those words in the course as you were watching it, or maybe in your monthly call with a strategist. Great. What else got out of exercise aside from the one word problem? Your pain points, right? That is how it is manifesting in your avatar's life. And pain points are the easiest things to think of, right? So don't think you have to do this in order. Think of the cause first, then the problem, then the pain points. Sometimes people reverse engineer it. It's what works best for you, right? Some people like to say, well, this is exactly what my avatar is going through. This is what's happening on the day-to-day of their life, in their relationships, in their work, and the decision-making. Sometimes that's a helpful exercise, right? So you're going to come up with pain points. And then usually in that problem word cloud is also the cause, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between problem and cause and really how to land there and why it is so important. So if we look back here at our branding and Helix, we're right here at what is the problem that you solve. And again, in tandem, what are you passionate about? Sometimes you get to one or the other based on those two big parts of your life and what you're experiencing and what your avatar is experiencing. But we really, really focus on problems because they're really, really important. And the reason they are is because people buy solutions to them, right? We often tell you that you need to be the ambassador of a problem. You need to be the one that's talking about this problem in everything you do the most, right? And that is not to be Debbie Downer. That is not to be, negative in all of your marketing. That is not what we're asking you to do. We're not insurance companies striking fear. If you're in the business, great. This will come naturally to you. But we need to be the ambassador of our problem, and here is why. Based on science, the way that the human brain works is that if it hears you talking about a problem that it's facing consistently, automatically, I'm going to assume, the human brain assumes, this is a survival mechanism, that you have the solution. If you're going to talk about the problem so much, you must have the answer. It is just how the human brain works. And so we have to talk about the problem. We have to talk about it boldly. We have to talk about it consistently. We have to be the ambassador because it is what people buy from you. It is what people buy in with you, engage with you on. And so really identifying that problem is really, really important. And so there's some characteristics of a problem, according to Brain Builders Group, that really, really want you to stick with. We think and we know that the problem must be a noun. It's just an easier way to think about things in terms of the way you talk about solving it. And perhaps most importantly, it has to be an issue that people are bumping into in their everyday life, right? This is something that they are struggling with and they know it, right? If you were to talk about this problem in a group of people, your avatar would raise their hand and say, yes, 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 how did you know? This is the biggest problem I face every day. If they have no idea, if you're like, that didn't really sound like something, we need to rethink the avatar or we need to rethink the problem, right? So it is something they are bumping up into in their everyday life, right? And this is all about automatically assuming you have the solution. You are the answer. Your brand, your product, your service. People are going to assume you have the answer. It is physiological. It is how the human brain functions. We have a few examples, and I know you've seen these guys before if you've watched our course, and obviously one of them is one of our clients. and Lewis Howes, but think about it this way, right? Brene Brown, she was a researcher and still is, but that was her main focus. She researched shame, she researched how shame impacted people. It was where she doubled down in all of her studies. She happened to do a TED Talk on it that went completely viral, and still, I mean, I think has tens of millions of views. It's insane. She broke through the wall talking about researching shame, shame, shame. And now, because she's broken through that wall, because she's been known for that one problem that she solves, she now talks about leadership. She can talk about whatever she wants. She gets paid like $150,000 a keynote. Like that's not bad. I remember I looked into her once for something here, was in talks with her people and her speaking agent, and she was like, well, she'll do virtual for 75. And I go, man, 75,000, not 100. And I was like, man, that is what a place to be as a speaker when that is what you're commanding as a virtual keynote, man. And then you have Dave Ramsey, who has a really specific kind of tangible problem, right? It doesn't have to be so emotive. It can just be debt. We know debt causes lots of emotional pain points, but he solves the problem of debt. He gives people actionable steps, whether you subscribe to him or not, to get out of debt, right? So he talks about debt all the time. He's one that still really stayed aligned with that problem. Like, debt is dumb. He's talking about debt. He also coaches on leadership and entrepreneurship, obviously, but that's after he broke through the wall. So this is what we're looking for you in particular. So some of you might be saying, how do I know the difference between a problem and a cause? I say, great, I'm so glad you asked. The problem is the what. It is what they are struggling with, right? They can identify it, they can feel it, it's right there in front of them. The cause is actually why, right? Why are they struggling with that what on a consistent basis? Again, this is perhaps the most important piece. I want you to burn this into your mind as you're thinking about these things. The problem is something they are keenly aware of, right? They can identify it, they will accept it, they will raise their hand and say clear as day that this is the biggest problem that I have. A cause, they have no clue, no idea it's at play. But you do for one of two reasons. You have spent your whole life helping people get to the other side of it, so you know the root, or this was you, right? And when you identify that problem over time, you're like, oh my gosh, do you know what's causing this? It's this, and I need to fix the cause before I can even start eradicating the problem, right? So problem aware of, cause, they have not a clue. A lot of our clients will flip-flop these. They'll be like, this is definitely the problem. And we'll go, do they really know that? Like, do they really resonate with that? Is that something that they would own and accept in their life? And they go, well, maybe not really. We need to rethink, right? The second is the problem is what you address in your marketing. Think of the problem as the hook. If, again, you're speaking it into existence, they're going, there's my solution right there. It's what you address in your marketing. You are shouting the problem from the rooftops in all the ways that you can. The cause is not going to hook them. Remember, they have no idea, or maybe they're in denial that this is really the cause of what's happening in their life. Like, you're not going to hook them that way. You can shout out the cause till the cows come home, and this is a big issue we see, especially with clients who are really trying to market the cause, is they're wondering, why in the world are people not, like, this is the real issue. They have no idea. They're not ready to face that yet. And the cause is what you address in your teaching. Remember, when you hook them with something in your marketing, whether it's a keynote or thought leadership you're putting into the world or a course, you have built trust with them, even a little. Enough trust where you invite them in, they will actually listen to you when you talk about the cause. Does that make sense to everyone and feel really good? Yeah? Okay, good. In marketing, if you can help people see the impacts, you can help them see the problem. Again, this goes back to sometimes it's easier to identify the pain points first, right? Like, this is how this is showing up in your life. Yes, for sure. So that's all in your marketing. In teaching, if you can help people see the cause, you can help them solve the problem, right? We can put a Band-Aid on the problem all we want, right? It's temporary. We've got to go after the root cause. So you guys, in just a second, because we're going to talk about message and uniqueness here, you're going to get more than 20 minutes to do this, don't worry. Well, like, all in the afternoon session, kind of, we're going to work through all of this, but you're going to have time to work on this problem word cloud exercise, right? And again, this is where this is a sales tool. You guys, every single word that you have on there, a majority of them you're going to use in your marketing. You're gonna use them on your website. You're gonna use them in your email copy. You're gonna use them in your talk tracks when you're selling someone into your product, service, and brand, right? You will use everything you create, okay? So don't hesitate to throw it all out there. We're gonna jump into high level message and uniqueness. These are the other key components of your brand positioning statement. You've identified the problem, you're marketing that. You know the cause, you know what your teaching is gonna be about. Now you have to discover how that person is gonna take you up on that. What must they do to overcome the problem and therefore the cause? And what's the unique way that you solve that problem for them? Everyone's is a little bit different. So we're gonna come through that one sentence message as a deliverable, that one word uniqueness, again, one word, and then all of the payoffs. What will life look like when they work with you, after they work with you? We're gonna come down here to characteristics of a great message. This trips people up, which is why we're going over it at a high level. Don't worry, your strategists are really gonna help you with this. Characteristics of a great message. It is actionable in a command statement. You are telling them what they must do to overcome the problem, right? It is actionable. You are imagine grabbing them by the shoulders and saying, you have to do this. I have the answer. Trust me. This is what it is. Here's where people get caught up. Your message is not marketing, okay? Your message is not sexy. It's not catchy. It's not meant to be, okay? Your message is basic. Like if you only had one sentence to tell your children or your spouse or your partner or your best friend, and in one sentence, it would completely erase all of the problem and the cause. If they just did this one thing, would you spend time making it catchy? Would you spend time making it sound pithy and fun? There will be a time for that. Your message is like desperation. You have to do this, right? It is not sexy. It's very basic. It is not petty. It's not ethereal. It's not like, know your own truth. Like, how in the world do I do that? Like, what does that even mean? A message, the command statement, should ideally be something your avatar can stand up and attempt to do, right? I cannot stand up and attempt to know my own truth. That is too ethereal for me to wrap my mind around. So just make sure it's not abstract or ethereal. The other thing, it has to be one thing. You guys love to put in commas, do this and this and this, step 1, step 2, step 3, or even if it's just the word and as the connector. I need it to be one thing. And people love what they can follow and they want direct messaging, the one thing they must do. Sometimes it's a recurring thing that you already say, right? So don't try to make something else new if you know that this is it, right? Well, I tell people this all the time. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I already do this. It is almost never a negative, and I would venture to say 99% of the time it's not a negative. It's almost always a positive, and here's why. If I tell someone not to do something, they have an array of things that they could do, right? If I say, just don't do this, well, they've got like a million options of other stuff they could do, right? If I tell someone to do something, there's no question. They are doing this one thing, okay? The other important thing, and this trips up our clients too, it is your truth that is a truth, okay? It is your truth that is a truth. It might not be a universal truth. Don't try to make it one. This is true to you. It is true of you and your experience, and it will be true for other people, right? So don't be like, well, most of the world doesn't think this way, or gosh, I feel like so unique in the way that I think and approach this. No, go with that. There are billions of people in the world. I guarantee you there is a large amount of people where this will be their truth too, okay? So there are questions that you will go over in your exercises this afternoon to help discover and codify your message, right? Your strategists are going to work with you through this. Maybe some of you have already done this. This is going to be exceptionally helpful. You don't have to do all of them. There might be one of these that just clicks with you and you're like, I know exactly how to answer this, okay? But we're going to give you lots of different opportunities to discover and codify your message, okay? The next is a uniqueness, right? This is the truth about what it takes to solve the problem, right? And honestly, when we talk about your truth that's a truth, it is your belief of what it means to be successful in life, in whatever thing you're teaching them, right? It is a one-word solution to the problem. and or a one-word distillation of the message. This is how the message and the uniqueness align. They always should. I'm going to give you some examples here in a second of what exactly that looks like to kind of prove this point. It's a good, like, man, that works. These two things, they align. They make sense together. It's a word you want to own or be proud of. Okay, so this is the unique way that you solve the problem. This is a big one. We added this because so many people would be like, oh my gosh, I know what it is. This is what makes me so unique. Everyone tells me I'm so special because of this. Or I've always been unique. This is just my special way. I'm gonna really urge you, when you're trying to identify your uniqueness, don't think about it as what is unique about me, okay? I want you to think about it as what is unique about the way you solve the problem, right? What's unique about you? Lots of differentiators you can use in your marketing, right? But this uniqueness is specifically about the way you solve the problem you solve. Does that make sense to everyone? I just want to burn that into our memory because that's really, really important. It's not as much about you, right, as it is about who you are, and who you are as it is about how you serve, right? The unique way you solve the problem. It's not all about you, which is hard when it comes to personal branding. We have tons of questions about uniqueness. I know this first one was, well, what is your superpower? Well, Elizabeth, this isn't supposed to be about me. I don't want it to just stem from that alone, right? It could be that the unique way that you solve the problem is a superpower of yours, but I want you to think about everything else too. I don't want you to start there and be like, everything stems from what's unique about me, if that makes sense to everyone. I want to show you some examples of how a message and a uniqueness go together, right? When we say a message is a one-sentence iteration of the message or the uniqueness and vice versa, Brene Brown, right? Her problem is shame. She uniquely solves the problem of shame through vulnerability, right? Her message, allow yourself to be seen. That is a one-sentence iteration. Her truth, that's a truth of vulnerability. Do you see how those two things tie together? Allow yourself to be seen, be vulnerable, right? Those two things align. Confidence, give yourself 5 seconds, go, right? Like, I need to be confident, I just need to take action, like actionable confidence. Essentialism, less but better. Do you see how the uniqueness and the message align? That is one quick way you know one of them is not right, is if they don't talk to each other, right? Your strategist is going to help you with that as well. So we are about to go into working session until 4:30 this afternoon. So you have a long afternoon working session to dig into problem, cause, message, uniqueness, right? Start with the problem and cause, then you're going to move into message and uniqueness. Again, when you do that big brainstorm about uniqueness, like what are all of the things? I guarantee you a lot of those things might be payoffs, right? And your strategist is going to help you identify, is that the unique way you solve it? Or is this something they experience once they work with you? Is it a payoff? So again, when you do those big brainstorm dumps, you're going to use everything. You're going to use everything because it's all a part of you. It's stemming from you, and you're going to be able to use that in your marketing. Everyone feeling good about moving into the afternoon session? Amazing. All right, everybody. I am going to make sure Brandon still has a room. Yep, you still do, Brandon. You're good. Everyone's got a room here. I'm going to put 1,887 minutes on the clock. Again, math, man. Open these breakout rooms. You guys go to your own breakout rooms. Casey, I'll make you a co-host. Don't worry, Betty. I saw you come in. And I will see you back here at 4:30 Central Standard Time this afternoon. Good luck, everybody.
How's your bio break?
What's up, Davidson?
What's up? I'm excited. Let's go.
What up, gang? Hey, buddy, I want to hang with you.
Yep. I don't know if you guys remember AOL Instant Messenger, AIM? That my screen name was D hang up on you. That was It's so stupid, I know. But when you're a teenager, you think you're funny.
It was brilliant. Still is, actually.
Well, technically your last name is Hang, right?
Oh, wait, what do you mean?
Is it Hang? Is it two hangs?
No, it's just one.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason in our CRM, it's Davidson hang.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's funny, my autofill does the same thing. It goes Jerry Nichols, and I have to constantly, I don't know how I got in there, but it is.
All right, you guys.
Did we lose
I'm
Janice?
just a little upset that my message can't be sexy. I mean, I don't know, I'm just a little upset.
For you today, for a special price, it can be.
Okay, thank you. It makes me feel honored and valued. Thank you.
Could you define sexy though, Jerry?
Well,
Wait, I missed it. What happened?
I was going to show a little cleavage, but
Oh, that's what that was.
Little skin.
There you go.
How do women get away with that, by the way? I mean, yeah, guys, if he showed cleavage, I mean, you'd be like, dude, yeah, sure.
Well,
Okay, let's focus.
It's like
men are only competing against women, so you have to ask women. I don't know. Alright, so refocusing. Let's talk about brand positioning statement, which we have teased that out already. Speaking of teasing, Jerry, so we've already teased that out a little bit. I think I'll just jump back in. Yeah, someone asked about Jane. Jane is without power, and I said, hey, maybe you go to a coffee shop, but apparently she's in the middle of a field.
Oh.
So she said to apologize, and they're working on getting her electricity back. It sounds like she lives out in the countryside somewhere.
Yeah.
So for now, it will just be us. Which is nice because you guys get more time. So I think we can just jump back in, and I can just keep working with you guys to outline cause and one word problem and uniqueness, and then we'll go into message. Jerry, the message, we can get the message sexually, we can get the message sexy eventually. Eventually we can get it sexy.
Casey, I believe in you.
But we have to start very non-sexy first. Some people never get there. Some people, like North Face has a great message. It's never stop exploring. Boom. What a great message. If we do, it's easy. I know how to do that, right? And if I never stop exploring, I will always live the North Face lifestyle, and I'll always need their products. Okay? So, it takes a little finesse to get it to that level, but at first we just want it to be very doable. And the reason we say, hey, don't worry about it if it's not super zingy, is because we're not really communicating the message directly a lot. Let me get this pulled up for you guys here. When we go to captivating content, this is how the message plays out. So let's say if we go back to the headache and the dehydration analogy, if my uniqueness is hydration, then my message is going to be simple: drink more water. Okay? So through my pillars, through my thought leadership, in each pillar, I'm going to help you take another step in understanding how to drink more water. So, pillar one might be around electrolytes, right? The behavior could be something around, get more electrolytes in your diet. Step two, you guys can understand how that plays out. But the message shows up throughout your body of work because you're consistently teaching them the next step and how to do that. All right. Now I have seen it where sometimes we can get the message pretty darn cool. So, one guy was he worked with what is it when your spine is curved? What is it? Scoliosis. He was a scoliosis doc. And the whole thing people needed to do was they needed to basically try to get ahead of their body as it aged and continued to curve. And his message is stay ahead of the curve, which is funny and kind of snappy, but it's also very like, yes, that's exactly what you need to do, is you need to stay ahead of it. So, all right, I won't belabor that anymore. So who do we leave off with? Did we leave off with Davidson, I believe? Pretty sure. Davidson.
I thought I just went, no?
Yeah, we left off with, I worked with you last, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, man, if you can just get in and just brain dump those psychographics,
Okay.
and then while I'm working with John and Jerry,
Okay.
if you can brain dump those psychographics for me,
Cool.
and then come down here and start on this box, cause and one word problem.
Okay.
When I get to you, we can really pressure test what you have currently in your BPS.
Okay.
Alrighty?
All right.
Cool. Any questions, Davidson, before I start with John and Jerry?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. You're welcome.
All right. So.
Alrighty, you guys. We'll do 30-minute increments. Since Jane's not here. Let me get that up. Any thoughts and ideas on alignment and failure?
We can pull up the. Where are you in the sheet? Okay, you're still back up there? Okay.
I'm at-
It feels like we're close, Casey, but not quite there. I know this is a bit of a process. For me, project failure is not resonating. I don't know about you, Jerry. I think they're just almost seeing that as down the line. What do you think? I don't know if that's the one that's front of mind that says, okay, I gotta talk to that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it almost sounds like I'm these guys that don't feel they're in crisis, but they're still overwhelmed. Does that make sense?
Yep. Maybe overwhelm is a better.
So that's my word. I don't know if that's John's word, but overwhelmed is my word. So John, I don't know how you would run with that, but that's definitely, it's resonated. But I'm more the like 50 tasks. I got yellow stickies all over the place. I'm writing here and there. I'm using OneNote. I'm using 15 different apps on my phone, and then 50 on my computer, and that overwhelmed. So on the operational side, overwhelmed. When I say, "Are you overwhelmed?" They're like, "Hell yeah!" And everyone else is too. And we need to hire more people, and we can't have more FTE employees. It's killing our EBITDA. And so for me, overwhelmed really resonates. I don't know if it resonates in the leadership coaching strategy.
So it totally does. Think about it. You're overwhelmed with difficult people, dealing with conflict,
Okay.
people not being accountable, people not, taking ownership of their work, people phoning it in and not putting it in an 8-hour day, which is happening with this generation more and more, or the younger generations, I should say, because they don't know how to manage based on output versus hours, if that makes sense. It's a whole mindset shift to really, I think, really engage the younger generations well.
Yeah, I talked to a couple of people just recently, since we kind of went down this road. and overwhelmed was my word, and each one, as soon as I said it, the head, I got bobbleheads, like, and they just kept nodding as I talked through what that looked like for them. So,
Think about it,
you know,
Taj, Chris at the construction company we went to, JB, who you know, I think all of them would probably say they're definitely dealing with overwhelm and almost, it's something around decision making. Decisions are delayed because either this overwhelm and misalignment, right? We're not responding as quickly as we need to. Does that make sense, Jerry? I think I'm in the zip code. Like,
it really is. I mean, John, with your what you've done with neurosciences, with your injury and everything, and with Michael Sullivan, when you're overwhelmed, you're underwater. You know, everything is just molasses. You move slower. When you're in crisis management, you can do that for a short period of time, but when it gets elongated, fatigue happens, and you just start doing all the tricks to move fast. So it creates that fatigue and then foggy decision making, because now it's like there is this piece I think at some point that people get to that is it's hopeless. There's no matter what I do, it's going to remain the same because I've done so many things and it just keeps getting worse. But they really don't have a framework for sourcing task, activities, decision making. You know, and it's not. I love what Royce said in the time management. Time management needs to be redefined. You know, it's like that whole funnel of eliminate, automate, delegate, can be now or later. I love that whole thing that was in one of the videos that were put forward. They don't understand time management. They're on old school time management and they need next gen time management. So there's, I don't know, I'm getting off that base.
well, you know, the visual that's coming up, Jerry, it's almost like if you've ever been at the beach and you're up to your hips in water and you try to run.
Can't, yeah.
You can't. But you're just as strong as you are if you were running out on sand and you could be at full speed. And you just got to make that 10-yard move and you could be at full speed.
Well, yeah, so John, that metaphor could really go map. So if you want to move from there, and you have to move from right there, you need a surfboard, you need a boogie board, you need a jet ski. But if you just want to move distance, get to the shore, that can be a technique that says, I just need to move up to the shore, and then I can run those 10 yards, or I need to actually be in this position, but I need another mechanism. So you could run with that metaphor, but because they're in the ocean, they're trying to boil the ocean, they're overwhelmed. They don't know what to do or where to start.
Well, you know, an aviation technology is you're trying to fly at full power with your speed brakes deployed.
There you go. There you go.
Right? You know,
Well, John, it's like what you said about Donna flying back from Florida. You know, why in the world is it going to take 5.5 hours? Well, she was facing a 100-mile-an-hour headwind. You know, and so that could be another thing that's that unconscious incompetence. There's things that they are flying against, that they are doing, that's slowing them down, or that's a part of the nature of the problem, and they can't see it. And that's that overwhelm. I've tried everything, and I'm still getting bad results. I can't accomplish what I want.
You know, I think the other problem is all this stuff leads to this level of either ambiguity or uncertainty that's very uncomfortable. And I think one of a critical skill of a leader today is actually being able to make effective decisions without all the information. Because they'll never have all the information, especially today. Things are moving so fast. And they feel that. I don't know if they can put words to it, but I believe that they feel it.
That's good.
Does that resonate, Casey?
Yeah, that even felt like a I don't know if you said top level or what kind of decisions you said, but that felt almost like a book title or some kind of information product, or maybe even a keynote or TED Talk, something like, how do you make top-level decisions without all the information?
Effective decision making in the midst of ambiguity, or in the midst of uncertainty.
It's good.
That could be a good series of content.
Yeah. So have you ever heard of Jason Harris?
Yeah. He
You have? Jason O.
Right.
Harris, I believe.
Oh, he's a friend of mine. I know Jason.
Yeah. He wrote
Black guy, Air Force pilot. I've coached and mentored Jerry. Oh yeah, I know. I've mentored Jason.
Yeah.
Is he
Yeah,
a grandmother guy?
Yeah, I went to his house and did a 2-day brain DNA with him.
Here in
Like-
Colorado.
A year or so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Jason. I'm gonna actually see him next Friday. I'll tell him he said hi.
When you see him, tell him to come on back to the
Come on
fan.
back. Come on back, baby.
Come on back. Dave, I'm downstairs. Come see Daddy. My daughter's up, which is not the plan. That's okay. That's why we have TV. You know? Just plug her in. My wife's doing a million things because it's her birthday and my son's birthday, and so we thought we had a master plan here with it now, but it's all right. We will navigate. But yeah, Jason Harris is, some of this stuff that you're talking about. He tells a story where like he was about to land, and I don't know what the name of this individual was, but they're like an 18-year-old, and he said like, "Don't land." Have you heard that story? No fail trust.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but it's he works in the leadership space.
Yep.
To build no fail trust, right? And he talks about being able to rely on different people in your organization to make fast and quick decisions. So anyway, this is a really cool topic, and I think that, with a military background, in the context of even working with military, I think that this could be a really cool topic. So just putting that there. It may never be anything, but it could be something. So I just like to leave a trail for ourselves with brainstorm. So you guys, you can see, I know you guys can kind of follow along as you were talking. I was just kind of dropping things out here that could be a potential problem, and then these things, you said.
Could we go through those?
Yeah, let's go through them.
I think overwhelm. Let's just throw out one word, Jerry. I would actually say priorities. You don't know them. What do you think? What's the cause of overwhelm?
Well, I think it's, I'm gonna go back, I read the book, so Roy says it's actually saying yes to the wrong things, because a yes is a no. So, I think overwhelmed is they've said yes to too many things, and the critical few they have not said, they may have said yes to the critical few, but the insignificant many they've said yes to as well. So they've got 1,000 things to do. So priorities is trying to find that you've got this 1,000 things to do, find the insignificant many, pull them off the side, and then take the critical few and prioritize those, and the rest eliminate, automate, delegate, and then get your critical few and focus on it. So prioritization, I'm saying yes, prioritization makes sense to me. That's how you sift and sort, the insignificant many from the critical few.
That's interesting. My Allie said last night, Jerry, she read something. If you spend $27 extra a day, which does not sound like very much, an extra coffee here, whatever, right, a energy drink. At the end of the year, you spent $10,000 that you didn't mean to that you could have in your savings account. That's the insignificant many, and it actually has this cumulative effect. And it's why they're probably feeling, here's the other thing. They don't know how to delegate. They do not, executives don't, and they don't know how to build the capacity of their team where there's accountability in the team of teams. Does that make sense?
Tell me, what do you mean by the team of teams?
Okay, let's just say, right, JB, right? He's got 5 divisions that report up to him. Client service and producers and finance and IT and claims. Well, if I don't teach those 5 individuals that report to me how to hold each other accountable to excellence and to the work standards and the collaboration that's required, then JB has to do all of that, and it's exhausting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that dynamic is missing, and that's something Pat Lencioni at the Table Group has made his career on, is that dynamic right there. That's the entire basis of 5 dysfunctions of the team. And it starts with trust. That's his foundational pillar.
Would trust be another payoff, I would assume?
Yeah, but I think, yes, and I got a whole bunch of stuff. A high trust team, what does it give you? Right? We could actually have a slide in our deck on that. I have stats written down here that from 3 books I've read on the topic and real stuff I've seen with my clients. But it has like 57% higher engagement, 13% less. This is the team self-reports that they're a high trust team. 13% fewer sick days, and I could give you a whole list. But when you actually get in alignment as a team and you have healthy relationships as a team and trust goes up, it's those outcomes that facilitate success on these projects and profitability. So you can see how the work, Casey, that Jerry and I do together is absolutely, completely integrated.
Yeah.
Saying yes to the wrong things, I like that. What else is the cause? What did I just say in that little soliloquy that could be a cause here? I'm just looking at. I'm just gonna write lack of delegation.
You talked about misunderstood priorities as well.
Yep.
John, this takes me back to our Band of Brothers a little bit, but I wonder a little bit about identity here. Is there a cause of mistaken identity? Is there issues? I'm not talking spiritually, but I'm talking about in the organization. Are they caring more than they should? And is there an identity issue about what their role is, and that's causing them to be overwhelmed because they're in slots they shouldn't be in?
Well, yeah, I took the Jim Collins take on that, Jerry. Is the right person in the right seat.
Yeah, okay, good.
Because you know what, as soon as we did that at CCIG, which was some very difficult conversations, because there was a lot of ego assigned off into a title or a role, but it took us almost 6 months to get people in the right seat, and that's when they started taking off. But if your identity is tied up in your title or how you're seen in the company, right, that's also misalignment. You know what? I'm also going to put this, right? This is what is EOS all about, right? It's about it causes no accountability structure, no or ambiguous accountability structure. So that equals role clarity. You need role clarity to have both of number 5 and 6, and actually 5, 6, and 7. And it affects delegation. And it affects number 3. Because I say yes, because I'm going to assume that I guess I just need to do this, versus no, that's clearly Jerry's, purview. I can help Jerry, but Jerry needs to own that, right, Jerry?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's good.
All those are 3 through 7 are completely linked. There's a theme in there.
I think ambiguous accountability is really strong as a cause, because if the accountability wasn't ambiguous, it would lead to the right person doing the right thing which means the leader wouldn't be stepping out of their spot to put out and do down here. But if they're able to stay up here, and stay at what they're good at, what their role is, then the overwhelm is a lot less likely. So ambiguous accountability is pretty strong.
You know, because I think one of the most frustrating things to a human being, Casey, is an unmet expectation.
Totally.
Right? Let's just say you and I are working together, you know, as you're my coach here in Brand Builders. And I expect certain things from you that it was my understanding, but it was never verbalized.
Right.
And all of a sudden I'm like, well, he never did that. So now I'm kind of ticked off. And you're completely clueless. And now, so it's really important to be in like violent agreement, clear agreement about who does what is success, what this means to you in the organization. And I actually find that is lacking. We actually have an entire tool we use called the social covenant. It's all based on scripture, by the way, Casey. I actually can send you the videos.
Yeah.
We had them professionally produced, and it's
Yeah.
going far and wide. But what it does, it allows the team to actually be in agreement on how we're going to work together and treat each other. It's not about an HR issue. Like, hey, we're going to be respectful. We're going to be trusting. We're going to have fun. We're not going to gossip. And then if I see you do something that affects the relationship, which is foundational to getting the work done, I now have a way to approach you and say, hey, Casey, this could just be me, but you know what? When you did that in the meeting, or you didn't give me this deliverable on time, man, we agreed we wouldn't do that. But listen, this could just be me, but what's going on? I want to have a conversation about it. What it does, it trains your team how to solve conflict without getting the manager involved. That's really the core of it. So that's another cause of all this up here is, I would say, unresolved conflict.
Right. That's really true.
And I'd say another one here, because I think it's endemic and it is a cancer, and that is this gossip. And unfortunately in our society, it's how a majority of our communication is. And if it exists on a team, it's going to absolutely just erode trust like acid on a piece of plastic.
What would you talk about if you didn't have gossip?
Right? Hey, you know what? Did I tell you about AJ? Oh my gosh.
And something very practical here, and I'm sorry to be Kevin and obvious and be very practical, but the systems and processes are typically the cause of being overwhelmed, lack of. So I'm trying to do 100 things that a human can't do unless I have systems and processes.
Right.
You know, if I have automation that does 75 of them for me, then I'm getting 75 done, but I'm only touching 25 because I've automated the other 75. So systems and processes is sometimes and what I typically would recommend, John, this was with Nicole White, we haven't debriefed yet, with Nicole Crane, but you know, is this what are you using for project management? They were using a task manager. I was like, there's a problem. It was like, you know, they don't have a project manager, so there's no accountability. They don't understand dependencies. They don't understand how things are getting done. They don't understand what the workflows are. They don't know what their bottlenecks are. Everybody's busy. You know, so there's no system to know if someone's busy or not.
So when we do work with companies and we do a thing, constraint exercise to actually develop, you know, find the constraints, almost always it's a person or a leadership. Communication is a top constraint, but then processes, policies, and systems, Jerry, because I define a constraint as something that reduces productivity. It's a bottleneck in your system. And these are the top 5 that we consistently see that we help companies overcome.
This is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Like, this fires me up.
So where do we go from here, Casey? Because that was a lot of really good ideation.
That was fantastic. So we have a great list of problems and causes. So my natural instinct would be to reflect those. Well, I do want to go through. You guys are great at ideating, but I do wanna go through, put it through the paces of these questions that are designed to pull things forward. So as we go through this, it will solidify, it'll bring certain words to the front, certain things to the front. And then the other things that are really big up here is what keeps someone up at night, what's holding them back from reaching their goal. So if you guys want to, like whenever I meet with Davidson, you guys could rip through these. Or do you already have these, John, somewhere in your OneNote?
Yeah, I got some pieces and parts of this. Jerry, if we could go on mute here and talk on the phone and do this in the background.
Okay.
You want to do that? This would be a good time to knock it out, and I can.
If you want, I can bounce over to Teams and if you want to share screen.
Well, oh yeah, I could. Well, can we do that and be in a Zoom call?
I think you
I
can.
can on my system. I'm not sure if you can on your system. I don't know.
All right, let's try it. Let's try it. Got nothing to lose.
I think you can. But yeah,
We
rip
can talk
rip-
on the phone.
rip through the psychographics, and these are gonna tell us, we'll compare this with the word cloud, right? So go through that, and then also go through this section here that's highlighted. And then when you'll start to see what's really swelling. And then we'll compare all that, and that'll really help us solidify and tighten down on what is the one word problem. And once we have the problem, then we look at the cause. And you might go, another way of doing it is you might look at this list and go, okay, out of these 10 things, which one is the biggest, most painful? But also it's like, what is the one that they talk about, right? If you have multiple clients talking, or multiple teams talking about the same thing on this list, that's pretty indicative. A lot of people come to, when I have my first call with people, it's like, people are they're so lost. They're like, I do not know how to position myself. I do not know what my like I hear the same thing over and over and over again. So anyhow, go through your memory and see if any of these words stick out from past conversations, and then that we can also use that as a tool to help us pull the right word forward.
Are you getting an echo, Casey? Is that from us?
Yeah, I can hear the echo, your echo, but not me. Is that because of Teams? I bet if you just mute Zoom, you should probably, it will probably be fine. All right, guys, march onward. I'll work with Davidson, and then I'll come back to you guys in about 30 minutes. Happy dance, happy dance.
Woo! I banged out a decent amount of it, actually.
You did?
Yeah. Let's go.
Take a look.
Yeah, this is fun. I realized Jay filled out some of it for me, which is great, because I was like, oh, like, he did some of the work without, yeah.
Alright, let me get your deal pulled back up here.
Man, this is cool. This is awesome, man. I love it.
It's really life-giving to have that type of clarity, like, wow, this is the problem.
I know. It's like all in my head, but I never have taking the time to like put it all out there. So it's like just ruminating. So this is like way more clear and concise, and yeah, and it helps to be focused, right? Because like my content was like all over the place, which is not good. Or it just yeah.
It's pretty common
Yeah.
for it to be that way. Alright, let me restart the clock here. Whoop. Okay, cool. Alright, brother. So, oh, I do, I shouldn't.
Oh, you're just reading it?
I was just looking at it.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's see. Let me come up here and start the psychographics. Here we go. This is what I love to see. right, so are we gonna look at Adam or Wyatt?
I mean, it's funny because now that I'm seeing it, it's pretty much the same, right? It's not that different. One is just someone that's 5 years or 6 years ahead, and one is like someone that's a little bit earlier, but it's still the same stuff. It's just like
Okay,
slightly further along in their career. That's all.
so is the psychographics for the individual that's farther along?
Oh, yeah. I mean, now that I'm seeing it, it's basically the same thing, right? It's not that different. It's just like one has been a little bit further, so they're just here. Let me just make sure I'm doing the right thing. You're talking about because what I started filling out was I don't know if I filled out the right thing. I just started from the brand positioning statement and then went down and just did all
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, you did great. So we have the chronic overachiever chasing fulfillment, and then we have this guy. So, is Wyatt is the chronic overachiever?
Yeah, they're both the same. One is just someone who's a bit younger. That's all.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. So the first one is it's more specific. It's someone who's in tech sales, right? Whereas the second person, someone recommended to me, but I'm still kind of thinking about it. Like, do I want to work with coaches? Like, because a lot of coaches suck at selling. So I'm like, would that be useful? So I don't know. Like, this is what people are planting into my head, but I don't know yet, right? Because I haven't tried that yet.
Are you looking to teach sales though?
No. So yeah. So that's a scratch that. Never mind.
Well, look. All right. So let's look at your website real quick. Can we do that?
Yeah.
What is it again?
Just my name, DaveSonHang.com. Accountability, courage.
Yeah, man. All right. So
Resilience.
I like the look. I like the look a lot. So these are. Did you change this since the last time we talked?
Oh no, that I think it's the same. It's the same.
Oh, where's the page that has them all side by side, left to right?
Oh, you just click on the tabs. That's all. You clicked on the training tab. I think that's what happened. So this would be the home page where it says home.
Oh,
Yeah. And then if you scroll down more, the training yeah.
okay. So it talks about coaching, but it doesn't. What are these currently set up to coach around?
So like what's the framework?
Well, what is the topic that you're coaching to? Like, are you coaching?
Yeah, so that's where it's
Who are you helping them with?
so that's where it is like, and that's where there's not a lot of clarity because some people I'm coaching them around like getting promoted. Some people it's like, hey, I'm helping you land a job. Some people it's like, hey, I'm trying to find the love. I'm trying to like get over the block. Yeah, so honestly, like out of like the 50 people I've coached more recently, it really is different per person. So it is customized. Like some people we talk more about like, hey, how do I launch my business or how do I transition out of like being in the corporate stuff and start my own coaching business. But the common theme is like they all struggle with like just being their own worst critic, like they're really hard on themselves.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, well, so that's kind of nice because you have the flexibility to coach to whatever they need whenever you do it now, right?
Right.
when you do it now and they say, oh, my dream is this, my obstacle is this, right? You can just tailor the coaching program to what they need.
Right.
So, but we'll fix that to where you are
More.
you have solidarity on what it is exactly.
Yeah. That's why this exercise is helpful because I'm like, oh, that is what I do. Okay. Without
So
even
as we
realizing
go-
it.
So as we go through the psychographics, who are these psychographics for? Because the same person at different ages and stages is actually two different people,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Like, are you different than you were, 5, 10 years ago? Like you're making decisions differently, you're viewing things through a different lens. You're
Right,
looking at
right.
things
So honestly, the psychographics, I just answered it as if it was me. So I don't know if that helps. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So which one do you better fit? Do you fit Wyatt or do you fit Adam?
I'm more of the second one, but I was the Adam 5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's just walk through this. If you answered it like it was you, well,
For
this is
the
interesting.
for the most part, yeah.
Yeah. Is this to search? Is this to serve? Is it the psychographic guy here? Is the chronic overachiever?
Well, aren't they the same? I guess you just said it in a different way, but I think they're the same thing, right?
Well, yeah, I guess they do sound very similar. Okay, so we can get rid of this because this is not the actual.
Okay.
Yeah, are these two different people?
No, they're the same.
This okay. All right. Well, let's roll through it. Let me just kind of take a look at this.
Yeah. Let me know what you think.
So, what does this person care about? Whom does this person care about? Okay, what are their person's passions and interests? Looking for the love of their life. So.
Oh, I think Jay put that. I don't think I put that.
Well, do we need to keep that because people do come to you for that, right?
I didn't realize they come to me for that, but that ends up once we peel back the layers, that's what ends up happening. But they initially come to me because they're like, I need to make more money and I need to land a job, and you're the person that everyone says I need to talk to because I'm trying to land my next dream job.
Okay. Those people that come to you typically asking for that, what are their interests and passions? Obviously, they want to make more money.
Yeah, they listen to a lot of podcasts, right? Lewis Howes, more specifically, Jay Shetty, Tony Robbins. They attend conferences that helps you get better. Like Jack Canfield, like Grant Cardone, like those types of people. They're into fitness, right? So they hit the gym. They listen to like Alex Hormozy, stuff like that. They travel, right? So they go to like Bali and Tulum and all that, the cliche stuff.
Right.
And then they're into like tech, like they'll get the newest iPhone or they'll get the Apple Watch, and they most likely drive a Tesla.
Hey.
Yeah, like myself. Tezzy.
That 2 L's. Tez.
1 L.
Yeah.
Yeah. They listen to Audible when they're driving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, listen to Ed Milet. and those types of people.
Awesome. So where do they currently spend most of their time? And this is kind of what you said here. This is all.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
where does this person wish they were spending most of their time actually doing the things they care about? Travel, spend time with family, burning the midnight oil. There we go.
But they're actually just working a lot of hours usually. So that's what they're doing instead of what they should be or what they actually want to be doing.
Okay. Worse. Okay. What does this person want? All right, so this is really big. So we want to really fill this one out.
Okay.
We're gonna go deep on this.
Yeah.
So peace of mind, confidence, acceptance.
They want validation. They want the followers, the subscribers, the listeners, like grow their podcasts, build their brand, network, be invited to cool events, start to launch their speaking business, launch their become TikTok famous, like start their Facebook group and build that community. Promotions, publishing a book, traveling to cool exotic places, going to Hawaii, winning President's Club, right? I think they want love. Like a lot of, specifically seems like the women, they always complain to me about how they're not able to find, like, there's not enough good guys out there, so that's something that they struggle with.
All right, cool. So, looking at what they want, these are the things that they will do anything for, spend any amount of money for. So, when we look at your payoffs, we'll come back to this and look at this to see what we can do to marry those.
Oh, okay, cool.
So this one plays into payoffs pretty well.
Okay. Cool.
So what is this person searching for?
Like inner peace. I think they're searching to be liked, to be loved, accepted by their community. Friendships, mentors, to give back as well, to be a mentor / mentees. Volunteering, like being involved with some sort of mission driven, usually it's like a nonprofit. Searching for the answers, right? Like they're just seekers. To heal the past is a common, most of my clients come from traumatic passes or domestic violence or whatever it is. A lot of them come from divorced parents as well, or not having a parent around, so they're searching for someone like a role model. The answer. Oh yeah, you write that. Yeah, role models, guidance. I guess a lot of gurus. I think we're like prime suspects for to be part of cults. It seems like, self-development cults. Yeah.
This is great. All right, so what are the limiting beliefs?
I need to be successful in order to be loved. Like, once I get to this, then I'll do the thing that I want to do, which is like, then I'll travel. Then, once I get to X, Y, once I make this amount of money, then I'll have time for my family. um there or why, you know, I don't have a college education, why would they hire me? Or I'm not a tall looking, good looking white guy like Casey, like why would they choose me? So a lot of my people, I'm a really short person, right? So a lot of the people that come to me are misfits, I guess you would say. Like either they're like really short, or you know, they just don't come from traditional families. Like they were, you know, they had like usually some weird circumstance, like maybe like they have a stuttering issue, or a lisp, or some sort of like, you know, thing that's quote unquote like not normal. Or they're people that have like mixed identities, so they're biracial, bisexual, you know, not like usually not Christian, right? Not Anglo-Saxon, not like WASPy. They're all people of color, um, yeah, people that are immigrants, yeah, people that don't come from traditional paths. So because of that, they always say like, oh, I don't fit the mold. Like I don't have a sales background. Why would I be good in sales? I don't have a father. Like I don't have money. I don't come from money. I grew up poor. Um I look, you know, I'm not good looking, for instance.
Got it. Man, this is good. This is really good to understand this, because you can speak to this in your content and you'll gather their and you know, this is like, you probably do talk about some of this on your LinkedIn or social, but
Yeah. This
I mean,
it's good stuff. Yeah, now I can be more specific, right? Because I think I do it now and then, but I'm not like intentional with it. Like I do it without knowing. I think I'm doing it, which is now I can like actually be like, okay, I'm gonna like talk about all these things instead of I would just say it and I didn't realize I was doing it.
have you seen The Greatest Showman in the World?
Oh,
The
dude,
Greatest Showman?
that's my favorite. Like, that's my favorite movie. Like, oh, I should have said that instead. Damn, it's so I love it so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's interesting. People that look like they have it all going for them. You know, it's a lot of times they don't have the secret sauce, right? Like there's plenty of tall white dudes at the trailer park, right?
Yeah, that's true.
but there are these people that come from this background where they have been put through such an unusual set of circumstances that have led them to develop these special skill sets.
Right.
And this is like, as you're talking through this, it's like, this is a real community of people.
Huh.
Like this is a real legitimate community of people who feel like what they really, what the Barnum Bailey. Two things he did for his people. He gave them a dream, and he led them with courage. Right? He helped them with courage. He told them, you know, take the thing that is weird or unique or unusual, and I'm giving you the courage to go stand out in the spotlight with him.
Wow.
So and I'm just kind of spitballing here in a brainstorm, but this might land and it might not. If it doesn't land, it's okay. I've got thick skin. You can tell me it sucks.
Okay.
But what you might need to do is help these people dream, reset the self-love scoreboard,
Hmm.
and then give them the courage to live into that.
Yo, this is crazy. I'm definitely getting the feels here. Whatever you guys get, the fuzzies, whatever you guys call it. It's
the goosey.
the goosey. The fuzzies.
The fuzzies is great. The fuzzies is great
The
too.
goosies. Oh.
Ava, sit back.
That's so funny. Yeah. Holy shit. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to curse or not, but
I think it's alright.
because I know Christians don't like cursing, right? If I'm
Well, you know, John was in the military, so he's got a cigar in his
Okay.
mouth. I'm
Okay.
okay with it. My mom has cursed, and my wife, and they both curse like sailors. So
okay. Yeah, I didn't even realize I was doing this, but like all the networking events I'm hosting, all the communities, like I didn't even realize I was bringing together misfits. Like, huh? This is crazy. I didn't realize it, but yeah, it's like they come out and I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like I somehow am attracting like really interesting people in my life, and I'm like, huh? Like why is this happening? This is so weird.
I think one of the things that you do is you teach them how to use their unique. You help them discover and utilize their unique skill set.
Yes, exactly. Spot on. That's part of my framework, which is find out, like, I help them figure out their unfair advantages, and it's usually, like you said, it's because we grew up poor, because we were abused, because we were, I experienced racism, all this stuff, but then I'm like, but I'm glad I went through that, because, like, I literally had to fight and claw for everything, right? Like, nothing was ever handed to me. And because of that, it's like I'm usually the shortest person. I'm usually the weakest person, but that's why I do that many more push-ups, that many more reps, and like it works out, right? Because I had to do that, and that's what I'm teaching people. It's like, yeah, like you were abused, but look at how compassionate you are. Like look at how empathetic you are. Like it's like not everyone can has experienced what you've experienced. Like you have the capacity to understand, the human condition, and that's a beautiful thing. And then they're like, oh my god, and then usually some crying involved.
Well, and come back to your title, Daring Hearts.
Ooh, damn, that's so good. Okay, wow, that second
And
part.
I even love as a subtitle, Unleashing Your Unfair Advantage.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm gonna tell that to my brand person. She's gonna be like, whoa. That's so cool.
Now this is just, I'm just playing around with a subtitle. You don't have to use that. Again,
I
this
like
is
it.
all.
Yeah.
What I give you is like, it's clay. Shape it, mold it, throw it out, or put it in the kiln and make it last forever, right?
It's good.
So,
yeah.
So, the Daring Hearts. I mean, the Daring Hearts Club. This sounds so freaking cool. Like I love the concept of the daring heart, because the daring heart has been stepped on. It has been insulted. It has been looked down upon. Daring heart, even though it's been downtrodden, it is not. Even though it has been someone has tried to push it down, it dares to get back up.
So
It dares to push forward, and they have the ability to do it. What you do is you just what you do is you give them the gas. My wife will be home soon. This was not part of the plan.
Aw. Man, so good. So good.
Hold on, baby.
I love it. So cool.
Alright, here you go, honey. Alright, go sit down. So, how do you feel about that? I mean, with that being said, let's see. Isn't psychographics so good?
Yeah,
Right?
I think I did it, but I did it more surface level. Like you took it to like the nth degree, right? Like I did it where I'm like, oh yeah.
Casey, you guys still got 5 more minutes. You're working, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just when you want us to jump back in, just wait, because I have you muted.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
Okay, thanks.
okay,
Thank you.
you got it.
Man, I'm getting the goosies. I'm getting the goosies.
Okay,
So
let's
good.
keep going through these. Let's keep going through these psychographics,
Okay.
and we'll see what else we can pull out.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, this is very
And-
detailed.
Think about how powerful it is to rewrite these and say, what are your limiting beliefs, right? Rewrite them to the individual, let them fill it out, and do what they will say. It's the next layer to the onion.
Man, so good. Yeah, and I can literally ask my clients now, like the one, you know, because yeah, this is great. Huh.
All
Okay.
right, so what are their needs personally?
So, I mean, financially, right? Because most of them come from not having money, like living off of government assistance. So, like, the first thing is like, hey, I need to like make money. I need to survive. A lot of them come from good households, right? They were abused, so they need love. They need community. They need healing. They need hope. They need like a strong why, like a mission statement. They need they need to like drop like the drug addiction, drop the being addicted to, you know, porn and video games and social media and like the hedonic treadmill, or like the short-term release that feels good, right? So like
Right.
yeah, so they need like I mean, let me think in the beginning, and then I'll think like different stages, because I do think, to your point, yeah, there are two different people I'm serving here. So let me think to like the younger folks. So the younger folks like need direction, like they're not sure which is the right career path. Like, am I making the right decision? Oh, you know, they need permission to fail as well. You know, they also need to set boundaries, need to be able to say no, need to be able to fight the cultural, like the two, like the Eastern values of being born a different ethnicity, but then living in America and having to assimilate to the Western cultures as well. So they're push and pulled in the individualistic, like doubling down and finding their individualism, but also being able to be respectful of the Western values as well. So that's always an interesting dynamic. They need, I think they also, you know, there's a lot of perfectionism, right? So they need to be able to forgive, they need to forgive themselves and to forgive their parents, that you know, they're doing the best they can and that their parents aren't perfect, and neither are they. Oh man, that's good. I mean, that summarizes it all, like the forgiveness, you know. And that's the common theme.
Is forgiveness is probably a payoff for you.
Yes. Oh my God. I think that's that's probably the biggest payoff, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It's like all my clients, like, they're so hard on themselves from stuff that happened like 10 years ago. It's like, dude, it was 10 years ago, you know? And it's because like most of them like don't have God or don't have a spiritual practice. So I think it's more difficult for people like us who don't really have like that spiritual resource.
Totally. Totally.
I think time is up.
Oh shoot. So respectful. So you can, I said very respectful.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. I was in it. I'm in it. I'm like, yeah, forgiveness. But looking at this here,
Wow. I think I'm finally on the right path. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This feels like we're making the right.
Oh, the echo.
Little echo. Echo. So, younger, you might have an older, you might do an older here,
Yeah.
just to kind of,
Okay.
so keep walking through the same way we have, okay? And go deep. Pull it all out.
Let's
You don't
go.
want to leave anything on the table. Pull it all out. And then come down here. If you want, I think would be really good for you, Davidson, and we can do this whenever I come back around to you if you want. But what would be really good for you is to do your avatar story.
First.
So we'll do that today.
Okay.
I'll show you how I do that in Chat GPT. If you hate Chat GPT, we don't have to do that.
Oh, I use it for everything. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I usually, if everyone can hear me, I usually wait to do the personal introduction statement, the elevator pitch, until after we've completed the brand positioning statement, because we need to know what the payoffs are before we can do this. Okay. So I wait to do that at the end. And then you went through and you did this. Very good, very good, very good. Awesome. All right. So yeah, I would say keep working through the psychographics.
Okay.
If you want to take a whack at the avatar story, go for it. And then if you get through with all that and you want to keep going, then come down and keep working on the uniqueness.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Feel good?
Yeah, this is amazing. I love you.
Hey, I love you too.
This is the best day of my life.
Really?
I mean, it feels like something is shifting. So we'll keep going.
Man, you should share at the end of the day what's been hitting home for you.
Okay.
And it's not about me, just people. It's good for people to hear.
Yeah, totally.
And there's been breakthroughs, and you don't have to even use my name or mention our group. Just whatever.
Cowboy Casey.
Say more.
So Davidson is uniquely positioned to call in the misfits.
Nice.
That come from broken homes, different cultures, immigrant families, they have a learning disability. They have all these things that make them, uncomely or not accepted or not worthy. And what David does is he brings them in, helps them dream again, gives them the self-love scoreboard, and then pushes them forward, pushes them up with building their courage.
What? Well, Davidson, big stud.
Well said. Well
Hey,
said.
you're gonna have to watch that movie this weekend.
I know it's gonna resonate.
You're gonna
I was
see
wondering why I love that movie so much. I'm like, oh, this. Me and my wife on the radio, when we listen to it when we drive everywhere. We're listening to it like all the time. We didn't even realize this is why we love it. I guess.
Are you gonna sing? Are you gonna sing and do show hands and?
I am a singer.
Hey, I'm a singer too, and I can be the elephant in the background.
Nice.
Do it, man.
That's smell a duet.
Thank you. So good.
So yeah, I think that's your vein, man. I think you're uniquely positioned to serve that crowd. You got such a big heart. You're, unashamedly yourself. You're willing to put yourself out there and cry on social media and be just completely like unapologetically, unequivocally raw. Yeah, and Davidson. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of radical vulnerability.
And I'm just a fan of radical.
True. And cigars.
That's like the coolest flex ever, Jerry. Just got the cigar hanging out of your mouth. I'll tell you what these guys need. They need a system. I'll tell you what you need.
You just see Jerry saying, you know what? I love when a good plan comes together.
Hey, this is the A team. Who's Mr. T? I need a Mr. T.
Oh, you're Mr. T. Your business is gonna be smoking, baby. It's gonna be smoking.
I'm telling you, he's gonna be smoking.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. Davidson, great work, man.
Thank you.
Great work. Gentlemen, let's dig in. Excited to see what we got cooking now.
Why don't you pull it up and share it? We spent the whole time really just on the psychographics, and I think we made some good progress.
All right. Fantastic. Let me get that pulled up here for us.
It's a good thing I'm a very fast typer to keep up with Jerry's mind. He's like a mainframe.
I think he's saying I'm fat, but that's okay.
What an awesome nickname, mainframe. It sounds like a transformer or something, right?
Yeah.
John, would it be easier for you to share your screen and show me kind of how you guys went through it all, or do you want me to lead?
Yeah, I can share it.
Okay, yeah, share me.
Let's go. Let's see. What?
You put it on.
Okay, so 50-year-old male CEO, sweet, making $250. These are kind of our core markets. We're really focused on here first. He's got a BS, might have a master's, a lot of PhDs.
Huh.
Married. He's got probably 3 kids, high school, at least 1 in college. A lot of pressure for work-life balance and finances in kind of this period of their life, right? Plus or minus 5 years up here. They spend a majority of their time in the office. They're spiritual. All our clients currently are white. What do they care about? Faith. You want me to read through it?
I'll skim it.
Why don't you skim it and just let me know when you want to go to the next one. That'd be faster.
Some cigars in there, office, they're even back
Makes
to work.
85
after
a year.
evening, they're not being present. Clients, when they wish they were spending, got clients, key relationship.
Alright. So I'm filling out this avatar thing that helps me be like super specific in what so my avatar, which is the people that I'm ultimately supporting, that I'm helping, is Johnny Misfit, is a 38-year-old male who has ADHD, who was diagnosed with ADHD, and struggles with impulse control. He's a mid-market account executive at Salesforce. He works in the hybrid roles and feels like it just pays the bills. Really likes the money and prestige that comes with it. He earns $185,000 a year. Graduated with a psychology degree. With a BS from Rutgers. I'll just say from NYU. He lives in New York City. In Murray Hill. He's currently in a relationship, but is scared to commit. They have been dating for 5 years, and he's starting to feel the pressure of getting older, and everyone is asking him when they are going to get married. Okay. Everyone is asking when is he gonna get married. I'm doing the best exercise right now. Figure out my avatar. Big breakthrough. I'm can't wait to oh about it. Okay, so spend a lot of time. Well, actually, I should say at LinkedIn, but that's even more specific. Okay. Where do I spend a lot of time? So Johnny Misfit spends a lot of time reading books, attending conferences, traveling to different places all over the world, and is occasionally doing a road trip / exploring different cities, conferences, occasionally doing road trips. Oh, did I spell that right? That's exactly it. So good. Love this exercise. Oh man. Okay, so he spends a lot of time. He's also working a lot of hours, networking, trying to move up the corporate ladder. He is thinking about starting a podcast, but hasn't taken any action because he's too busy working, but doesn't find much fulfillment in being in sales other than the quality of life it offers and the ability to network and meet a lot of interesting, cool, successful people. Oh, this is for the course that Ian Koniak used to launch his business. Okay. Alright. So, oh, okay, you can't see all this. Oh. Alright, so he's, what else? Oh. So, what do we spend time, hobbies? He wishes he wasn't so hard on himself and finds himself to be super sensitive to feedback and doesn't have healthy boundaries around work, and in general because of the people pleasing tendencies. Doesn't boundaries move occasionally. Okay. So describe, he spends a lot of time, he's into fitness and likes to try different things like meditation, group classes, CrossFit. Ambition, he's actually pretty successful, but doesn't feel like it because he's always comparing himself to top performers who are making 350K to 500K and doesn't realize that money is the answer, but unconsciously is focused on is unconsciously focusing all of his energy in being able to become a better salesperson. Focusing. Top performers unconsciously. Okay. He sees himself, okay. Overall, he's sort of happy with his career in the sense that he is improving every year, but lacks the confidence to be able to make huge leaps or to be able to start his own business, but knows that he wants to one day. Spends a lot of time thinking about what's keeping him up at night. He has lower self-esteem than what he portrays out there in the real world through posting and boasting about his achievements on social media. He also knows that there is potential to become more of a thought leader, but is afraid of offending people by taking a strong stance on what he actually believes in. Okay. So he spends a lot of time thinking about what keeps him up at night. What's keeping him up at night is spending too much money because he doesn't have boundaries and says yes to everything, which some of it ends up being bad decisions, but he doesn't want to let down his community and make others feel like he's a bad guy by not attending all of their parties, invites, weddings, and birthday events. Boundaries. Doesn't self-esteem about his achievements. These doesn't. Okay. Cool. She is dedicated to figuring out how to overcome these problems. What's the motivators that are keeping him from moving? What keeps him moving? Okay. What motivates him is the travels, the conferences, the networking, the constant pressure of being surrounded by ambitious people who are making decent money, and who are not afraid to try different projects, like launching a podcast. But because he's comparing himself to everyone's highlight reels, feels like he's never enough, or he will never be able to get to the next level. Oh, it's so good. So good. Ambitious, different, everyone's. Okay, so that's what motivates him. Big dream. Okay. He dreams that one day he will be able to travel to 100 different countries, which he will prove to himself, his family, his friends, that he is capable of living pretty interesting life. But Johnny is struggling. Let me see, Johnny is struggling with list problems, lack of attention to detail, shiny object syndrome, ADHD, and the lack of impulse control to discern good decision making versus just escaping via playing too much video games, or not having a clear goal or a clear vision in mind. He burns out because he's saying yes to things he actually doesn't really care about, but he doesn't want to let down his community or his friends. So he says yes in order to look good and have the external validation that he got into a really competitive company surrounded by high achievers. So, okay, different things, CrossFit, he's doesn't realize. Okay, so the next part is what is he struggling? What are the problems? Yep, I talked about that. So good.
Oh God.
Jerry, are you?
The reason I said Davidson is because I work in street ministry and shelters for mental health and addiction. And it just, so the misfits thing that you were talking about before, it's a different type where you come from, I hear you, but there's a similarity of things I've gone down roads and I'm really excited about what you're doing.
I was on mute for. I heard the ministry stuff. Were you guys talking to me before that or?
I don't think.
Just restate it, Jerry.
What you were talking about misfits, I can relate to. It's not the same, but
Yeah.
I'm in recovery from alcohol abuse, and I have mental health issues in my family. And I have it too every now and again. That's a different sorry. But mental health and addiction and homelessness kind of roll together.
Wow.
And so I do a lot of work in shelter street ministries, and it's just those guys are misfits. I mean, they've been abandoned, and actually about 30 to 40% of them are aged out foster kids.
Oh wow.
They were abandoned.
Wow.
More than once.
So sad.
Birth mother abandoned them. Then they go through the foster system, get abandoned. Then when they get 18 and the money runs out, they get dumped, and it's confirmed nobody wants you. And then drugs, alcohol, mental health, addiction, all that stuff start rolling in, and they're homeless, and it's a bad spiral. So
I think
what you're doing.
I think you just presence me because you're right. Like I was wondering why like we're all escaping via drugs, right? But now I'm connecting the dots that it's like, oh right, it's because of that cycle of like, well they felt like they were abandoned or they were adopted or whatever. So that means obviously no one loves them, right? So they're like, oh well, let me just fit in with all these other misfits, which are usually people that are addicted to drugs, and a lot of my friends have died from overdose and or committed suicide. So. Yeah, thank you for the work that you're doing. This is meaningful. Yeah.
Well, and the big picks up that you said before about they're looking for something, but it may be more agnostic or whatever. Is would you mind if I shared a thought on that?
Yeah, of course not. I'd love to hear more. Yeah.
This is a personal belief of mine. Is that I think humans were designed for bliss. It's that ultimate peace and joy, and when that's not realized, people will go find a synthetic to create bliss. Sex, drugs, money, fill in the blank. And when that happens, because it's a synthetic, it's just like taking a synthetic drug. It has side effects. And it typically destroys the very thing they're after. When you don't get the real thing, you get side effects with a synthetic. So it's why won't they just stop shooting heroin? Why won't they just stop drinking? Why won't they just get their life together? Why it's like they're seeking to that addiction in addition to how they got there. Bliss. And so it's just interesting. People, but then there becomes a biological to that rhythm, to that habit, into this space, peace, joy, and it's a pure. Only humans are after it. There's that peace, and there was some of the questions that were being asked in here of tapping into that. What makes you just do what I just did? My shoulders just dropped, and I felt connected, and part of it's right here. Someone's listening to me. I feel valued. I feel like I matter. I may be able to contribute. And all these things that's part of bliss. Bliss is a human condition.
Wow. This is great, guys. Like, this is like a weird thing to say, but like growing up as like a minority, sometimes like there's a lot of conditioning where it's like, oh, like. White males are the bad guys, and more specifically, like middle-aged, like older white males are the bad guys. They're the ones that are bringing us down and racism. And then being in these communities where I'm like wow, like why did I think that? Like this is so mind-blowing, So thank you for giving me.
Well, because it's true. Partly because it's true, because there are a lot of assholes, quite frankly. But what's interesting, what's happening now is a phenomenon. The highest rate of increase of suicide is in old white dudes.
Wow, really?
Yep, it's the highest.
Crazy.
So not the most suicides, but the highest rate, the highest growth rate of suicides is in 45 to 65-year-old males.
Wow, you would never think that.
Yeah, they should have it all. But the problem is they they have it all and there's no peace, there's no bliss. And when you have it all and it's empty, that is a dangerous place for someone to be.
Wow. Man, that's crazy.
Actually, Brand, who's the British comedian?
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
he was on. He was being interviewed, and he said, "I've been down that road. I had success. I had money. I had women. I had everything you could ever want." And he said, "It broke me because I had it all, and it was so empty. It destroyed me." And so he went through a really hellish experience. I'm not saying he's the perfect role model now. I'm just saying he was unpacking his life of how he crashed and burned, went into rehab, and got straight. You know, in the sense of that pathway for him, but it was because he actually had it all and was so empty it just destroyed him.
Yeah, it's interesting about.
Kind of crazy. It's counterintuitive.
It makes a lot of sense, and it's interesting about the synthetic. You know, if you can't get the real thing, you get a synthetic, and then there's a side effect to the synthetic. You know, I don't want to go down the this path. Davidson earlier mentioned porn, and it's like, it's like that is something that kind of fits into that synthetic category, but it's a side effect and is empty, and it's like that short term, payoff for a wide range of things. And it's eye opening for me, and it's great to hear you guys share about some of this stuff, because we have a guy in our Bible study that just started coming, and he grew up in that foster care system, and he's 30 and doesn't have a mom, doesn't have a family. He's got some siblings, but it's kind of unclear if they're like biological or not, and it reshapes the way I'm going to spend time with him. Hearing him talk. Yeah. Cool, guys. Well, 6 minutes left on the clock for the Ramstead group. let's I paused it so we could have that conversation. I felt like that was meaningful. So let's jump back in. Let's go through these psychographics, and I want to see where you guys have landed. Would you be able to share again, John?
Yep.
Thank you, sir. All right. Person's needs, embrace a growth mindset, practice self. These are kind of the opposites of everything that we saw above, right?
Yep.
Got it. Keeps them up at night. Fear of failure. I'm seeing failure come back up.
Yep.
I like that word personally. Financial stability, profitability, their reputation, and personal leadership brands, some issue, people issues, retention, hiring. Too busy to focus on strategic and important issues. Awesome. There's that too busy to focus on.
Okay, so he's struggling with. Man, I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was a pretty awesome conversation. Alright, so what are limiting beliefs? What are the pains? The limiting beliefs. This is when you show up and everything. Oh, hey Nadine. Nadine. No worries. Workshop.
He has an hour in his calendar every day just to think, with nothing in front of him except a pad of paper and a pen. I think it worked for him.
I've heard of people taking a day out of the week to fulfill their purpose. It's a purpose day. And so anyway, that's interesting.
Jerry does a 2-day silent retreat every month or every quarter, Jerry?
It's every quarter, and then annually it's a 7-day.
journal and listen to God and plan life and plan the business and yeah, just to be with his thoughts.
Yeah.
And the 7 days in a yurt, because it helps get rid of the noise. So I go and spend in a yurt for 7 days, and it's an interesting experience. The first couple of days is a little disjointed. It's like there's no running water, and like, but by the third day, there's like this whole, and I start feeling me as opposed to all the things around me.
So here's what I came up for their biggest dreams. This is something we talked about quite a bit.
Be cherished for who they are, feel like their work life matters, function for their mission. It's interesting, you have accomplishing and furthering the mission, which would be the opposite of failure.
Mm-hmm.
It was worth it, I ran the race well, create financial security for my entire family. Boom. God, I've dreamed about that my entire life, creating financial security for my entire family.
Yeah,
That'd be really fun.
Going to my parents and saying,
I got you.
right?
Go to your sister and pay off her mortgage and all their kids' college debt. Wouldn't that be just a dream?
I mean, my parents struggled financially their whole life, and I would love to just take that pressure off. And say you never have to worry about that again. Here are the keys to your home, right? Here are the keys to the lock cabin, a mile down the road from your grandkids. What motivates them? Perfect. What's holding them back? Okay. Fear of failure. What's holding them back?
Definitely a theme in here, right?
Failure is back. Perfectionism. I think that's come up a couple times. Imposter syndrome's come up. Overwhelm's back. Burnout, we've talked about that in so many words or less. Difficulty in prioritizing and saying no, that's come up in one way or another. Lack of support or perceived lack of support, right? The lone wolf syndrome.
Fair.
Resource constraints, company culture, and resistance to change. Those are all probably words you could talk about when you talk through copy, when you put through content through, when you're warming up a crowd for a keynote. I mean, those things should, to expound on that, should really be painful for your avatar, should really get their attention. All right, let's rock on. Okay, here, what questions do they have? Now, this is awesome, you guys, because this is like your next 3 months of social media content. Question, answer, call to action, in and out in 60 seconds or less. Next question, next day. Question, answer, call to action.
That's great. That's great awareness. Thank you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. People love to have their questions answered because they're stuck here all day thinking about it.
Now, walk me back to that methodology one more time, because I think you were talking about a system. So LinkedIn or social media, I don't know, say social media, post out the question, don't give the answer.
Well, when you do your reel or your content, it's state the question, answer it.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then sometimes if you want to go longer form content, you could do the follow-up question.
Okay. Oh, so you put it all there at the same time. It's not iterative. It's all at the same time.
Right. You got your video camera.
I see.
Yesterday I was asked at dinner, what do you do to overcome lone wolf syndrome? Well, some of you don't know what lone wolf syndrome is, so let me tell you what it is. Okay, now that you know what it is, how do you overcome it? Overcome it, right? Question, answer, and then after you tell them how to overcome that, then you give them the call to action. What I want you to start doing is looking for ways to blank, blank, and blank. If you catch yourself blank and blank, make sure you blank instead. That's the call to action. That is the, right? How do we generate impact in people's lives? We change the way they think. So the question, answering that question changes their thought process, the call to action changes the behavior.
That's great, thank you.
Boom, you're welcome. Okay, cool. Fear of failure comes up again here at the top, with strategies, combat imposter syndrome coming up again, perfectionism coming up again, delegation, long-term, amidst daily operational demands. Yeah, keep scrolling, please, John. Cultivate culture. Okay, all right, so show me what you guys think is one word problem. Let's workshop that for a minute or two and see what you guys have landed on for your one word problem. If you keep scrolling, it should be just a little bit farther. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. There you go. You passed it. There you go. We got our word cloud there for problem right under that. Right here. So what word in the problem list there, what word comes to the top?
Well, let's see. Let's maybe start with our top 3 candidates.
There you go, shortlisted.
Let's see, Jerry. What else would you say?
I think time management is I don't think it's phrased properly there, but it's next generation time management. It's misunderstanding time and how it's managed. And I think that's a critical piece of why being overwhelmed happens, because people are in old school time management. It's just wrong. So
What's a one word for that?
next gen, so that's a problem. It's a problem. Misunderstanding of time management. Right?
Yeah, one word.
Timelessness. Just kidding. I tell you what, I don't want to put pressure on this. I'll let you guys workshop. You guys did an awesome job with the psychographics, like Benissimo, A++. Look at that and see what pulls forward, and then shortlist it. Maybe pick your top 3, and then also pick what you guys arrive on as like the top 1. And then after you figure out what you think the problem is, then see if you can figure out what the cause is to that. What's in the blind spot that they don't see? And then extra credit is see if you can figure out what is the uniqueness that kills the cause. For extra credit.
Say that last part again. What is the uniqueness?
The uniqueness is the thing that you guys do,
I see. Okay.
that you specialize in, that eradicates the cause.
I see. Okay.
You know, my first thought when you said uniqueness, Jerry, was clarity. We provide clarity that they do not have.
You know what I thought of? Was how do you catch a unique rabbit? Unique up on it.
If your uniqueness is clarity, the cause could be ambiguity. Because those things are direct, Jerry. Those things are direct opposites.
Sorry, I've got more, but don't get me started.
Man, I cannot wait to tell that one to the team. Oh, that's good. Say you unique up on it, say.
But I like that though. So so you gotta really think of the alignment of the problem, the cause, and the uniqueness. They all are, like that example before. So if, let's say the cause, the problem is misalignment, and let's say the cause is, let's just say ambiguity, I'll just pick it, then the uniqueness would have to tie those two together, right?
I like clarity. I really like that, John. Is because clarity is an embodiment of information, knowledge, understanding, wisdom. That clarity. It could be an umbrella that holds those things. My IKUW. What really is IQ is information, knowledge, understanding, wisdom. It's really all those things.
Well, I see clarity as knowing the right thing to do at the right time and in the right way.
Exactly.
People don't know what those are.
That's right.
The uniqueness drops the bomb on the cause.
I love it.
If we were to put it in Top Gun terminology.
Well, clarity versus ambiguity are linked, and then what would be the problem that most tied in? So we could play with coming up with those three-piece combinations to the one that just resonates the most.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. So you might see if ambiguity is functioning in the blind spot, does that lead to that? Is that a possible contender that leads to overwhelm?
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't really connect for me, but I'm just throwing that out there because overwhelm is another big one. All right, I'm gonna let you guys get to it, and I'm gonna get back in here with Barnum.
All right, what should we be working on right now, Casey?
Short list. I would love to see like your number 1, 2, and 3 picks of like what you think your problem are, and then out of those 3, say this is the one that we think it is. Right? So just kind of shortlist it, and then after you do that, then come down here and go, okay, what causes that problem?
So
And like John said,
and then think about the uniqueness.
yep. And then like John said, like you might pick different, well, I forgot what you said. The different 3
Combinations.
different combinations, right?
You gotta find the trifecta.
This causes this, and this uniqueness cancels out that cause. All right, that's one option. All right, here's another one: cause, problem, uniqueness. So you guys might play with that and brainstorm and try to line that out. And if you get stuck, of course, if you scroll down, John, there's a whole section on uniqueness. You guys might do that first. If you keep rolling, boom, right there. These are some things that can help pull out your uniqueness. And if you solidify your uniqueness, you might be able to reverse engineer it and look at the cause and go, oh, okay.
I like that. I think we should start there, Gary.
That could be another angle for you. All right.
Okay.
Rock and roll, rock and roll. Rock and roll, gentlemen. Where's my timer? Okay, Davidson, are you pumped? I'm gonna add a couple minutes to Davidson's spot.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Ooh, the Avatar story was so good. It was so good.
All right, let's
I love it. This is such a good exercise.
Well, all right, Cheryl.
I called him Johnny Misfit.
Ooh. Like Johnny Appleseed.
Exactly. Page 6, I think it is.
Yeah, where are we at? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Boom. Super specific. Basically, this is just me, but just named Johnny Misfit. But it's like, it's very specific. I'm like, oh yeah, ADHD, struggles with impulse control, like, Oh, like this is like perfect. Oh, I love this. Scared of commitment, dating for a lot of years but doesn't want to propose. Like, yeah, this is perfect. I love it.
And so but are you in California or in New York?
No, I'm in New York City.
Oh, I thought you were in California for some reason.
I lived in California for a little bit. Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm currently in the cold ass Northeast.
All right, Johnny Misfit is a 32-year-old male who was diagnosed with ADHD and struggles with impulse control. He is a mid-market account executive at LinkedIn. He works in a hybrid role and feels like it just pays the bills, but really likes the money and prestige that comes with it. He earns $185 a year, graduated psychology degree with a BS from NYU. He lives in NYC in Murray Hill. He's currently in a relationship, but is scared to commit. Been dating for 5 years, and he's starting to feel the pressure of getting older, and everyone is asking him when they are going to get married. Johnny Misfit spends a lot of time reading books, attending conferences, traveling to different places all over the world, and occasionally doing a road trip, exploring different cities. He's working a lot of hours, networking, trying to move up the corporate ladder. He is thinking about starting a podcast, but hasn't taken any action because he's too busy working, but doesn't find much fulfillment in being in sales other than the quality of life it offers and the ability to network and meet a lot of interesting, cool, successful people. He wishes he wasn't so hard on himself and feels himself to be super sensitive to feedback and doesn't have healthy boundaries around work in general because of the people-pleasing tendencies. He's into fitness and likes to try different things like meditation, group classes, and CrossFit. He's actually pretty successful, but doesn't feel like it because he's always comparing himself to top performers who are making 360 to 500K and doesn't realize that money is the answer, but unconsciously focusing all of his energy in being able to become a better salesperson. Chasing the wrong carrot.
Okay.
Wrong scoreboard, right?
Yeah. Huh.
Overall, he's sort of happy with his career in the sense that he's improving every year, but lacks the confidence to be able to make huge leaps or to be able to start his own business, but knows that he wants to one day. He has lower self-esteem than what he portrays out there in the real world, though posting and boasting about his achievements on social media. He also knows that there is potential to become more of it.
Yeah, I'm a thought leader.
But is afraid of offending people by taking a strong stance on what he actually believes in. Oh man! Hey, FYI, this is the thing that we push you out of in Brand Builders Group. Because we want you to be polarizing.
Right. I got that from the training, and I'm finally putting polarizing stuff, and it's going viral. Some of it.
Really?
I mean, I wouldn't say viral. Like, I'm not like Ian Cognac viral, but like my version of viral, which is like, thousands of engagements.
Yeah. Yeah. So polarization, I think of it as a backyard party, right? And so you have all the people in your backyard, you have the people sitting on the fence, and then you have everyone outside of the fence.
Oh, that's
Okay?
good. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So what happens is we water ourselves down to keep the people on the fence happy.
Huh.
But
Damn.
what we end up doing is we're not satiating the people that are our audience in the backyard at the risk of losing the people on the fence.
Okay.
Okay? So it not only serves you, it doesn't best serve your true audience.
So
Right?
good. So good.
So the best thing we can do is knock those fence sitters off one or the other and really have the impact we want.
That's a great visualization. I love that.
Yeah, so think about it like that. Like it is misserving to yourself and the people who follow you that are your true fans.
So good. Thank you.
You got it. Okay. Boom. All right. What's keeping him up at night is spending too much money
because he doesn't have boundaries and say yes to everything when some of it ends up being bad decisions, but he doesn't want to let down his community and make others feel like he's a bad guy by not attending all their parties, invites, weddings, and his birthday events. That's kind of the thing that John and Jerry were talking about, where if you say yes to everything, you start saying no to, right?
Saying no to, okay.
And yes, okay, so in my life, if we say yes to every birthday party, every social engagement, if we say yes to everything, the thing we say no to is personal family time, family togetherness,
Yeah.
peaceful bliss in our home life, on our weekends.
Yeah.
Because as we get out and we get too busy running
Story
around.
of my life.
Hurry up, we gotta get to the next birthday party.
Yeah.
Put your damn shoes on and get in the car, we gotta get to the birthday. You know? By saying yes to all that, we say no to some of that tenderness and togetherness that we should be having.
Man, this is so good. Oh, I have content. I feel like I have like a year's worth of content in just this. So good.
Just bubbling out.
Yeah.
Just hit the bubble and
So good. I guess now I see why Ian has so much content. I'm like, yo, how does this guy have like an unlimited amount of content? But going through this, I could see like it's like everything is very thought through. Yeah. Yeah.
what motivates him is the travels, the conferences, the networking, the constant pressure of being surrounded by ambitious people who are making decent money and who are not afraid to try different projects like launching a podcast. But because he's comparing himself to everyone's highlights,
Oh, reels.
everyone's reels.
Oops. And then I would say he feels like he's never enough, or
Yeah, he's comparing himself to everyone's highlight reels. He feels like he's never enough, or he will never be able to get to the next level. He dreams that one day he will be able to travel to 100 different countries, which he will prove to himself, his family, his friends, and he is capable of living a pretty interesting life. But Johnny is struggling with lack of inattention.
oh, this is funny because there's literally lack of attention to detail. I meant. Oh, shit.
So what's interesting about this line is that traveling 100 plus different countries is not what makes him capable of living a pretty interesting life. What really makes him capable of living a pretty interesting life is unleashing his unfair advantage.
Oh, okay.
Because then he's leaning into his unique specialty. Right?
Oh, I
And
see.
when you lean into your unique specialty, you start doing incredible things that are very interesting without having to get on a plane and go to Belize.
Ooh, damn.
You see what I mean?
Damn, that's deep, man. Huh.
Just a thought. It's just clay.
Yeah, you're right. I think, yeah, because even for me, like, when I do go to these things, I'm like, oh, it's cool. But what's even cooler is, like you're right. Like, actually the impact that I create through my coaching and less like, hey guys, look, I'm at this, like, cool place in Fiji. Like, you guys can come check it out. I mean, that's cool too, but I think sometimes that's like, hey guys, like, I grew up poor and, like, I made it. And, like, it's more like a chip on the shoulder, which is not sustainable, or is it actually? I don't know. I have to think about this. You're definitely pushing. You're definitely pressing on something here.
Yeah. So, it's not that you have to. It's not that you have to have an accomplishment to lead an interesting life. It's that you have to accomplish an interesting life where you are. You see what I mean?
Damn.
Like my son will be like, oops, I didn't mean to put balloons up there. My son will be like, well, this is, I'll say, go outside and,
build a train set or whatever. Or he's like, that's boring. And I'm like, well, if that's boring, then you're boring. You know, it's this concept of don't search for what's interesting, make what you're doing interesting.
Wow.
So it's just a mindset flip, right? It's a scoreboard. It's a scoreboard flip, right?
Scoreboard flip. Yeah.
So, anyways, I'll get off that. But Johnny is struggling with lack of attention to detail, shiny object syndrome, ADHD, and the lack of impulse control to discern good decision making versus just escaping via playing too much video games or not having a clear goal, clear vision, and clear mind. He burns out because he's saying yes to things. Yep, he actually doesn't really care about, but he doesn't want to let down his community or his friends. So he says yes in order to look good and have the external validation that got him in that he got into a really competitive. And have the external validation that he got into really competitive companies fronted by high achievers. So he's suffering from all of this, right?
Yep. Boom.
This is what a day in their life looks like in the absence of your solution. In the absence of your help.
Yeah.
Right? So the Avatar story is something that's really good to read before you shoot content.
Yeah.
Before you do the thing, whatever that is, with your audience or with your client.
Yeah. So good.
Or before a sales call. Right? Because you're looking for a version of this in their life when you're asking them their dreams and their obstacle, right? Where are you stuck? Where do you feel like you need support? You're looking to see a version of that life that's here. And you know that if you see that, Yahtzee, you can help.
Yahtzee.
You can help them.
Yeah.
Then they're a good fit.
So
Okay.
Okay.
It's getting juicy. All right, I'm gonna sit down for this next portion.
Okay.
My legs.
Yeah, I know. Standing too much sometimes, even though it's supposed to burn more calories, they say.
What have you? What do you feel like? Well, let's read through the cause of one word problem and then we'll see what you landed on. Okay. So you are you landing on self-criticism? Do you feel like
I think so.
Back to that.
I think so because it's hard for me to like not project because like I do think I always see all of my clients as a mirror of me, and it seems like we're all very very critical of ourselves even though on paper it's like amazing, beautiful wife, big home, like blah blah blah, like on paper it looks great, but when you talk to them, and I'm guilty of this myself, like still, right, even having done like so much work where like it's like I should be happy, right? Like I have what everyone dreams, right? Like every award, every cool, everything, but it's like, man, why am I still being so hard on myself? Like I have it all pretty much. So yeah.
Self-criticism is a slow killer.
Yeah.
So let me read through this. So what I really want is success, and then the opposite of success is unsuccessful.
Okay. Oops.
Or actually, it's failure, right?
Okay.
Like, opposite of success is failure.
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
What-
To.
Which is true because that's what I felt like most of my life. Like the first 27 years of my life, I felt like an absolute failure.
Mm-hmm. Well, you probably weren't.
No, I get looking back at it now that I've done it. I'm like, oh wait, I was emceeing events. I was I didn't realize it because my stories were like I got fired from all these jobs, but I guess I mean that's hard to say. I wasn't like a failure, every high achiever thinks they're somewhat of a failure, right? So yeah, if I was comparing myself to like a normal person, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I was very successful, but it's like depends on who you hang out with, I guess. Compared to I felt like a lot of my friends, like I wasn't successful.
So I'm struggling to find inner peace. I need help with loving myself. I really feel lost in questioning my decisions. One thing that's holding me back is myself, right? So that this does play into self-criticism.
Yeah.
Loving myself, lost in questioning my decisions. They probably feel lost because there's so much self-criticism. It's like they can't get a clear direction.
Yeah.
Wish I had more confidence. If someone has a lot of confidence, they're probably very low in being critical of themselves.
Right.
What do people come to you for organically? Switching career paths, right? Paths,
Oh, it's
right?
TH.
Career paths.
Paths.
Taking paths. Powerfully positioned to help people take action. Courage. A courageous person is out there on the action field.
Yep. Oh.
Okay, shut the door, honey. Thank you. I love you. What do people ask you about a lot? Should I leave this job for another opportunity? Yeah, self-criticism. Cool.
Yeah.
These are some other ones that come to the top is lack of self-confidence,
Yeah.
right? Which might be like self-doubt.
Yeah. So. Yep. Oh yeah, you can change so that way I don't overwrite what you.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And then imposter syndrome. I feel like these are all pain points that come off of the problem.
Yeah. True.
Symptoms, so to speak.
Mm.
And as a cause of, what do you say, self-doubt or self-criticism, it could be unfulfillment, trauma.
So good.
Victimizations, people pleasing, others, conflict avoidance, self-sabotage. Really, self-sabotage is interesting.
Yeah, so as you can tell, the problems and the cause part was what Jay did, or I guess the notes that he put down.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so this isn't from today.
No, this was from like the first call I had with Jay. When it was like our first ever call, basically.
Okay. Well, let's go up here and play with this a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So he wrote that part. He wrote the problem section as well.
well, here, what I'll do is I'm gonna take this and I'm going to drop it down here. In our just to keep it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And he also wrote the humble high achiever part as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about what do you feel like is the top problem that you think that you solve? And think about that for a second. I've got to respond to
All right.
one of my best buddies got his feet amputated yesterday, and his wife is asking me a question.
Yeah. Ugh. It's crazy. Sorry to hear that. That's wild. What do I think I sell for? Like sell for loneliness is another one. Ooh. Huh. That could be interesting. Do I solve for? Huh.
All right, so sorry about that. I just she wanted to know if I could come up to the hospital today. She's got to get the kids. Okay, so what do you think is the key problem here?
I mean, just thinking out loud here without overthinking it. Like I do. One of the things I solve for is loneliness. I feel like. In that I'm always building communities, I'm emceeing events, I'm bringing people together, I'm hosting networking events. There's always like a community thing that I'm doing, whether it's connecting people together. Yeah, that's always like the cornerstone of a lot of my endeavors.
When you have your clients or like people in your community, whenever they are engaging with you, do you feel like do they talk about loneliness?
I mean, no, like people don't say it outright, but they call me when they feel lost, or they're like they just got fired from a job, or they just got divorced. Like it's always people always call me when they reach like rock bottom, or like something has happened, like I just got mugged, or I don't know, just something like it just seems like people always call me when they reach like a pretty low point.
Distress?
Yeah, stress, or like unforeseen circumstances. I mean, honestly, a lot of people do call me when they're, I mean, sometimes people call me with relationship issues, like they're thinking about divorcing their spouse or something like that. Sometimes that's like another thing. Depression, they call me when they're depressed, I feel like.
So, do they ever talk about, do they ever use the word failure? Do they ever use the word criticism? Do they ever use the word self-sabotage or self-doubt?
Self-doubt, yes, that's another one. I don't think people use the word self-criticism. I feel like that's like more of like a fancy word, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But they do call me when they're like down and they're like feeling lost or hopeless, or when they're down on, when they reach rock bottom, it seems like. Man, I feel like I'm starting to sound like a therapist.
Well, I mean, there is I mean, coaching is therapy. we even feel like, hey, we even say, you know, sometimes it's like BBG therapy, you know, because especially in brand DNA, because we're going so deep.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, a lot of the problems like stem from like lack of confidence, right? Or they feel like I have this condition, I have this thing that's wrong with me, like I'm messed up, right? And it's like I have ADHD, I have, you know, I have a criminal record, I have this quote unquote condition that's wrong with, you know, back to the misfit thing, right? It's like maybe, you know, they didn't go to college or, you know, yeah, there's like whatever problems, and then they have shame around it, right? It's like, oh, it's interesting. Like a lot of the people I surround myself with, like even not my clients, like my friends, are like very very successful, like on paper, right? They're doctors, they're like lawyers, they're like very influential people, but they escape via like hiring prostitutes or like, you know, just like doing things that like they don't actually want to do, but they don't even realize they're escaping via like womanizing or, you know, video games, all these things. So it is like interesting, but it's like a lot of different things. But I do think they're lost and like sometimes they feel like outsiders.
Yeah, it comes back to the misfit thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Feeling not enough. I guess that's another problem. Like nothing I do is good enough. Or actually, a lot of them have like mommy and daddy issues too. You know, they hate their family. They don't have a good relationship with their family, their sisters, their brothers, like their relatives. Like our community is their haven, is their safe place usually, and yeah, that's always interesting. Oh, that's true. Oh, now I'm seeing, like, even with my men's group, right? Like, we talk about very vulnerable things, and they're like, dude, I'm talking about stuff with you guys that, like, none of my family even knows, you know? Like, it's like, we can talk about things without shame, without feeling, like, any sort of judgment. It's like a safe space where people can talk about their addiction to prostitutes or their, like, addiction to porn or how they struggle with like ED or whatever. Like it's just like a safe space, and I'm like creating a lot of these spaces where like men can talk about their insecurities, and it's cool. Like it's like what people come to me for.
Do you think shame is a potential one more problem?
Oh yeah.
These are the runners up.
Yeah. In some ways, I feel like I'm like the male Brene Brown. I feel like in some ways.
Well, the problem that she overcomes is shame.
Right. But it's like there's not a lot of men in my opinion, are doing like kind of what Brene Brown is doing, right? But I feel like in some ways I'm doing it, but in the context of like corporate, where it's like, hey, it's okay, like, you know, in corporate you have to be buttoned up and you have to wear, you know what I mean, you have to like have your shit together, but I'm just like, nah, like F that, dude. Like it's okay to cry, it's okay to be messy, it's okay to like, you know what I mean, and I talk about it pretty openly, but most people don't because they're trying to put up like this like positive image on LinkedIn and, you know, and in corporate settings.
All right, let's take this. What do you think is a word that they talk about that they're aware of? Like, if you were to talk about one of these words, what is a word that like they have voiced? Do any of these words rise to the top?
I guess
Like, if you got on, is your biggest following on LinkedIn?
yeah.
So if you got on your LinkedIn,
Oh, I did a word cloud actually.
you did?
Yeah.
You
So,
want to share it?
oh, can you share screen here or?
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Ah, okay. All right. I'm gonna share my screen. Where
Ooh. Okay. Now, did people respond to this?
Oh, I didn't show the actual word cloud. It basically this big data thing just analyzed all of my articles, all of my content, and then like this is like the most common things I talk about on my as a content creator. But I didn't actually. I should show this. I guess this is kind of interesting. Yeah.
Well, one thing that you might do is you might take a look at, I mean, I'm looking at these things. So life, journey, and like the biggest words, are those the words that showed up the most?
Yeah, exactly. The size of the word is the most commonly used words in my content that I've created.
Okay. So, imposter syndrome shows up.
Yeah.
So what would be interesting, Davidson, is if you took kind of our list of words that I just typed up in problem, you could share that on LinkedIn and you could say, does anyone resonate with any of these words?
Oh, and it's a good way to get a ton of engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, if you don't want to post publicly, private message me and tell me which one resonates with you.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Well, so this is actually smart. I get most of so I do a lot of polls on LinkedIn and on YouTube and on Facebook. So actually, this is something I'm doing every week, anyways. So this is like perfect, actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could poll the audience to see how many people resonated with which word.
Okay. This is good. Thank you.
Yeah. So here I'll grab the screen share back.
Okay.
So I would take these that I've highlighted here, and you might even take this one.
Yeah.
And let me see if there's any down here that we don't, that might be runners up as well. Yeah, we should probably add imposter syndrome. Okay, let's add unfulfillment and imposter syndrome. Impooster.
Boosters. Okay, this is good. Let's see what the data says.
Yeah, and see what the data says. Yeah.
Good stuff.
So you might take those and just make a post on your different platforms and say,
Okay.
whatever, doing some deep work and looking to connect deeper with my audience as well. I'd love for you to take a look at these words and let me know which one resonates the most with you, if any.
Okay. This resonates most. Oh, I like how you phrased it so much better than how I was originally gonna. It's like which do you struggle with the most? Okay. Cool.
And then you can put a little like in parentheses, like if you don't want to publicly post this, please, please DM me or private message me.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear.
Okay.
And you might even number them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, numbering makes it a lot easier because then people, low friction for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Cool. So let's if you want to do that
Okay.
now or tonight, whenever.
Yeah, and then tomorrow I'll get.
And then we'll have all that data for tomorrow.
Are you also my coach for tomorrow?
Oh yeah, baby.
Nice. Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Alright, I'm excited.
Cool, man. So,
It's gonna be good.
so let's do that. But I think that once we can get a little more buy-in, we'll really be able to nail it, you know?
Yeah. Oof.
Because I can see any of these.
Aw.
Which one gives you the goosies? Or the fluffies or the you know,
Well, to your point, like they're all kind of related, right? So I do see that like it all kind of like it's hard to see which one are symptoms and which like the root cause because I do see myself in all of these.
what is the main one that you have personally overcome?
I feel like all of these, right? I would say failure is like the one that like has the most potential because I don't think people like outright say like self-criticism, like that's not a common word that people use, but I feel like feeling like a failure is like it definitely resonates. Like I felt like a failure my whole I mean in some ways I still feel like a failure, you know? But you wouldn't be able to tell from like all like me like how I like when people see me they're like, oh you seem very confident, but like deep down inside I still feel like a failure, you know? So I guess I would choose that one.
Yeah. Well, I'd say let's simmer on this.
Okay.
You know? Because once we understand the problem, the key problem, like in the number one spot,
Yeah.
then we can easily pick the cause and the uniqueness.
Okay.
Because I am also leaning towards courage.
Yeah. I think courage that's what Jay said. Like he was like, ooh, courage sounds like that's the one.
Because you have to have courage to be daring, to have it
Right.
in your heart.
Yeah. I do think the only thing with courage is like yeah, I think it feels a little corny, but hey, like I think I'm a pretty corny person, so it's all I get.
And courage is not corny at all.
No, you don't think so?
No, it's one of my superpowers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Courage and faith. So courage is, you know, if we go cowboy terms, John Wayne said, courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway. And courage is what maybe is one of the things that people need in order to step into their empowering story, you know?
Yeah.
Like they need empowerment because everything in life has knocked them down,
Yeah.
right? So to step into their true self and to step in, it could be self-love, you know, like
Yeah.
it could be very right?
Yeah. Huh.
It could be any one of those.
Right. I mean, they're all somewhat similar, right? It's very to me they're both almost the same.
Yeah. So it seems like there's probably been a love struggle
Yeah.
in their life, right?
Yup.
Through whatever it is.
I mean, yeah. When you're adopted, like you're questioning like why was I put up for adoption, right? It's like the main thing. So yeah, it certainly
Can be very hard.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
Good stuff.
Great work.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take a little bio break here, use the bathroom, and I'll be back in 5, and then I'll round out the day with John and Jerry. Be our John? Oh, did you say something, John?
No, I just said sounds good from my
I
side.
did, but I was on mute. I said sounds good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jerry and I were talking, walking around the house because we need to stretch our legs, so we were ideating on our feet.
And sometimes I gotta lay on the floor and put my legs up like Jocko says. You know. Get the
I
blood.
try to do that every afternoon, but I kind of close my eyes and go to sleep. But
That's called a dad nap. Dads have the special ability to fall asleep for 5 minutes, no matter what's going on.
I totally can. When I was in the military, you had to sleep when you, seriously, you had to, I could sleep anywhere in any noise conditions, because
Wow.
You don't know next time you're gonna get sleep.
sometimes that's true.
So one of my best friends was huge, big, rose to the high ranks of the Marine Corps as a sniper, and man, when we go on guys trips, that guy could sleep on a rock, and he's asleep like that. And I'm like, how do you do that? He's like, man, in the military, you just sleep when you can.
Mm.
Get used to falling asleep quick.
Yeah. All right, I'll be back in a few.
Right?
Cool. That's good stuff.
Davidson, did you grow up in Jersey?
Yeah, I was a typical misfit fashion. We moved around a lot, 30 different places.
Wow, what'd your parents do?
Well, no, it was my choice, I guess. I was sort of, adopted by a lot of my friends. Cause like I didn't really have family, or I guess I was running away from family, cause like we just didn't really have like the best conditions growing up. So I just lived at like a lot of my friends' houses, pretty much.
Wow. How did you make that transition, after high school?
Well, I didn't realize this was all unconscious, but every time I got close to like someone, or I would win Employee of the Month or whatever, I got close, I would leave the company, because I didn't know this, but I was just so used to running away. So when it got vulnerable, when I actually started opening up my heart, and like the company, like the leaders invested in me, like I would just leave. So actually I moved around just as much even after, like college and high school, just because I was like, part of it was like trying to find myself as well, and part of it was just like I was afraid to, because I guess my story was like, oh, like they're gonna leave anyway, so why don't I leave first? Like my coworkers are gonna leave, they're gonna go to a different
First
company.
that way, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was doing it unconsciously.
Yeah, I can relate to that, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually are smoking a cigar. I didn't realize it. I thought, okay. Are you outside?
Huh?
No, he just has it in his mouth until the end of the day when he can go outside.
Oh, so okay. I thought it was active.
And so I have ADD, and it really does help me slow down. It
Yeah.
helps me focus. And by not lighting it, wanted to fumigate the house. But then the second thing is that these are like, $15 a stick. So if I chew it for 5 days, I save 15 times 5 or 6 or 10. I've been known to smoke a half dozen in one day, so I was like, slow down. It was that addictive personality. I don't know who has that.
Yeah, I also have ADHD. Were you diagnosed later on in life? Because I've heard like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD, and I had no idea. I didn't know I was dyslexic until I got to college. I was an accounting major, and I couldn't get the debits and credit, the T accounts about.
Whoa.
I kept transposing them up, and finally, counselor's like, dude, you can't be an accountant.
Huh.
You just can't.
Wow.
I was like, what's dyslexia? I didn't even know what that was.
Huh. That's crazy. Wow. It seems like a lot of very successful people have dyslexia for some reason, right? It feels that way.
Well, there's a reason for it, and it's true. It's the same thing with left-handed leaders. You create systems and processes to make it work, and those systems and processes are transferable to other things.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So left-handed leaders, everything's made for right-handed. So they're constantly figuring out how to make it work. And so if they can take the skills of making something that was made for right-handed work for a left-hander, then they can say, there's an organization that's set up to go forward, and I need to go back. They can figure out how to make it go back because they're used to problem solving for things that don't make sense to everybody else.
You're a left-hander, Jerry?
My dad and my son are. And it's interesting to watch them both. They have unique problem-solving skills that I don't have. King David was a left-hander.
Really?
Some of the major leaders in world history were left-handed. Major leaders in modern day management, from the 30s forward, are dyslexic.
Who's the guy that founded Apple?
Jobs.
Was he left-handed?
I don't know for sure. I believe he was, but I'm not positive. But you'll see more dyslexics massively successful in the data era, and it's because that's what you're doing, you're flipping data. And so people who are dyslexic figure out solutions for solving that flipping, and so that allows them to then take that technique, process, system, and flip data around. And so it's a data world now. So that's why. But you saw left-handers were led prior postmodern. It was because the world was so physical.
They're unleashing their unfair advantage.
Thank you. Got him.
Well, I'm not dyslexic and I'm right-handed, so I'm slipping into a fixed mindset, Jerry.
Come back, John, come back. To the light, come back.
It's snowing here, boys. I just want you to know.
Oh.
No way.
A real man would be out there in his shorts smoking a cigar on the ball. A real man.
That's not me.
I have two quick questions. Do you ever light the cigar, Jerry? Is my first question. At the end of the day, it gets lit. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Woo! I got excited. And then, John, what are you drinking? Because this is like your third mug. It looks warm. And
Oh, hot tea.
yeah, I was thinking it was
Cold in
hot
here,
tea.
and I'm actually wearing this and a pair of shorts, so I keep refilling it with hot tea and sipping on it to keep myself warm.
Dude, I told you it was National Skirt Day. Come on.
And I do have one more question. Is that a Top Gun shirt?
No, these are wings, naval aviation wings. So you get, that's what,
Is that a pin on? Is that embroidered? What is
this is
it?
embroidered, but when you get your wings, so my first pair of wings, I don't know if you can see it. I'll show you something kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't want to be a spoiler alert here, but don't they like punch them into your chest?
Well, I got a story around that too. See, yeah, this up there in the middle are the actual first pair of wings that I got from my cast, and those are the three pictures on the bottom. I can't remember the camera closer. Are the airplanes that flew in training, and then that's a drawing my wife had on the F-14. So then she had that whole thing put together.
Wow.
And then that pair of wings up there was given to me by, it was hand carved in the Philippines. It's beautiful. And, by a friend of mine, just as a thankful personal work we did. But there's my puppy in the background. See, I carefully craft my camera view so you don't see my messy desk. You see that with my main camera?
Yeah.
Yeah, see the difference?
Yeah, look at that. You can just smell that.
There you go.
But, so there's a ceremony. They do it on the chapel on the base when you get your wings, and they call you up. Lieutenant Ramstead come up, and then your whole family is there. And I was engaged to my wife at the time. We've been married 34 years now, and she has to come up and we're in our dress white uniform. And the tradition is you put, on the pin, they got the spikes in the back. You put those little pips on the back, right?
Yep.
So everybody tags it. So the tradition is, she's supposed to pin them on there, and then she just tags it, and then you get your orders. And I didn't know if I was going to fly the F-14 yet or not. Well, she was so nervous. Jerry knows her. She's kind of an introvert. Well, the first hit, she dropped it and it goes down my uniform and it's like stuck in my belt. Well, so she's not gonna reach and grab that one. So then she's trying to put it on the other one and it dropped down also. So the thing is just sitting there hanging on, it's not even tight. But she has to tag it. So guess what she does? Tags it and both spikes go into my pec. And I have now been bleeding. And then the tradition is everybody that already had wings on winging day, everybody punches me.
Oh,
No
shit.
way. Not only do I have a huge bruise, but I also have like these 2 giant cuts. So I'll never forget the day I got my wings. My wife
God.
made me bleed.
That's
That's
some tough shit
great.
right there, man.
That's badass.
Golly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you don't take out the trash, he threatens to do it again. Yeah.
And worse.
Yeah.
She knows all my leverage points, Casey.
Yes. Yes. I think my wife knows them, but doesn't know she knows them, and she just, she gets them when at least. So and then one more thing, John. What does your last name mean? That's got to have some cool.
Ray
your last
said?
name. Yeah. What does that mean? That sounds like a.
Oh, my grandpa immigrated from Norway, and his actual family name, surname was Hagen, but he couldn't speak English, so he immigrated here. When he wrote down on the surname was where he was from, which is a little town in northern Norway called Romstad, which means if you're familiar with the word jarl, right? You might be Davidson from some of the games and Nordic games, but it basically is like an earl or a king, right? It's king's land is what Ramstad means. Jarl's land. And then they anglicized it to Ramstead. It didn't have the E in it. And that became our last name. So when I went to Norway a few years ago to meet all my relatives from my grandpa's side, I've been back there now 3 times, but they're all Hagen. But they're amazing. The first time we came over there, we were just FaceTiming with a couple people that we've been able to connect with. And we show up at my, I don't know, 3rd cousin, twice removed. Remember, we showed up at Mariana's house, and there was 35 people there, every generation from the 90s to teenagers that had flown in, drove in, taken the train because they wanted to meet their American family.
Whoa.
And we had the most amazing, 5 days with them in Oslo. My son spent 9 months over there on a mission trip with YWAM outside of Oslo, but that's how we were able to connect. And now we've stayed in touch, and I went back to visit him a few months ago just to spend a weekend with him when I was in Europe. I went through Norway on my way home, and it was incredible.
Is that where the Vikings are from, Norway?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Vikings ver vordene, which means Vikings were violent. That's what it says in the Viking Museum.
That show is so good. My cousin got me on that show. Oh, man, it's pretty crazy. Wow. That's it.
Wow. It's such a such a awesome last name. I'm not discounting anyone else's last name, but it's a strong name right there, Ramsey. Okay, guys. Well, let me see what you have come to. Jerry shared a time and focus survey. Oh, didn't work. They're gonna try. Oh no! Oh crap! It just signed me out of.
Can you see that?
I'm trying to pull it up. It made me sign out of Microsoft. Now it's telling me to sign back in.
This is on Zoom. Jerry's sharing his screen.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Well, sorry. Let me pull you guys back up. Yeah, I tried to log in or to sign into it. There we go. Okay.
This was really, I did not expect these results. So I said, I'm conducting research, want to share out once I complete it. I appreciate your help. In your business, what is your biggest challenge for achieving your 2024 goals?
So, un momento. I'm just catching up. You did this today.
No, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. All right. So and you sent this to how many people?
So it was just posted on my feed, you know, and so I've got, you know, 13,000 something, and I get about 15,000 impressions a week, so, you know,
Nice.
this went out, and, a lot of people saw it, but not many people voted, but the people that voted, 5 out of 10, and everything else was distant. I really thought profitability or liquidity would be really high, but time and focus to set goals was number one.
Yeah.
And this is about your goals. I presume they already had them written down. They actually don't have them written down.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that I presume by the question, if you think about, I'm big on statistics, and when you ask surveys and you ask questions, you can actually create bias. And I actually have a bias in this question. I presume that they had a 2024 goal, and 5 out of 10 said they didn't have the time with the focus to actually set it.
Wow.
Really wild.
Can you
So,
see any demographics on respondents like you can on LinkedIn on post impressions?
There is, I just found it actually today on a different post, that there's another analytical tool within LinkedIn that I've never had seen before, so I haven't done it on this, but that's a great idea to do it on this.
It's just interesting to see what industries or size companies in general, the respondents come from.
Yeah, we actually, Davidson and I, we kind of landed on a short list of, 8 or so possible one-word problems. And we said, hey, why don't you share this and see what people resonate with? So I think he's gonna do that. We'll have that data tomorrow.
Good idea, good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Just posted it.
Oh, come on!
All right.
Boom.
Hey, put the link where you posted it, Davidson. I
Get
got
a wall comment.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Alright.
Hey, are you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I would say that's like my
Can
biggest
I share you guys a
following.
little LinkedIn secret from
Ooh.
the best LinkedIn marketer I've ever met? He charges 15 grand a day to come talk to your company.
Wow.
Golly.
Who's that?
So he's reverse engineered the entire algorithm on how LinkedIn finds content to promote.
Huh.
Because remember, LinkedIn is opposite of everybody else. They're only promoting things that are showing interest, and they're actually looking at who's looking at it. So let's just say you have 1,000 followers. It's only going to show it to a max of 10% of your people. It's not going to show up in everybody's feed. Unless they're a new connection within 30 days, they will see it. But the max total, including that group, that subset, is 100 people. And then it's watching in the first hour if you get comments. And the comment has to be 5 words or greater to actually be scored. If somebody likes it, before they comment, your score is going to be way less.
Ooh.
So
Because
here's
it wasn't meaningful enough to comment.
So here's the hack. Here's the hack. And I do this all the time, and I've gotten massive traffic from it. I create a little group. We have a group of 10, 15 of us. And by the way, let's just say something gets picked up and it starts getting promoted, right? And it's getting some traction. And let's say it's a Monday. Do you know as soon as you post the next post, it stops all promotion of the previous post. So daily posting might not be the best strategy. If you're going to post on a Tuesday and number 1 on yesterday's post is really trending, don't post. Because LinkedIn will stop promoting it. It'll you watch all your stats will flatline. So here's what we would do. We just sent out a note. Hey guys, I just posted. If everybody you have to be really clear because we have to train people. Do not like it. Do not in caps. Write a 5-word comment, and you have to have 10 comments in the first hour to maximize the score. You only need to get 5 people to respond because your reply, let's say Casey comments on my post, my reply to Casey that's 5 words counts as comment number 2. So Casey comments on it, I reply back, hey Casey, thank you so much, love your point, really appreciate it, keep rocking, right? David said, hey, you know what, whatever. And all of a sudden you watch, you get to 10, and all of a sudden it goes rocket ship. And I got 6,000 followers, and I'll get 6, 7, 8,000 impressions, and 80, 90, 100 likes, and and then multiple shares. If I don't do that,
Wow.
like on my podcast post weekly, I don't do that.
Hmm.
Those get, I don't know, maybe a few thousand impressions. That's kind of my natural. But I can bump that up by 6, 7, 8x by doing that little hack. So there you go.
Nice.
So why don't you do it for your podcast?
A number of reasons. Well, I don't want to be bugging everybody twice a week because I actually try to put out some content that I've written at least every 2 weeks. But the podcast goes out on LinkedIn and everywhere else every week. So sometimes I do, depending on the guest. But I've also been doing the podcast for 7 years, Casey. So revisiting the podcast and the strategy around that, and doing that relance like we talked about, is going to be part of this process.
Cool. Yeah, you might even have a separate group of 10 that are just for the podcast.
You know what? What if I actually did that with 10 other podcasters and say, guys, let's all help each other out?
Ooh.
You know what? 2 little different distribution lists. You're brilliant, Casey. No wonder you get paid the big bucks.
Systems. You always have stress where you ain't got a system. Write that down.
Jerry, that could be your tagline.
Hey, you want me to show you my system?
Yes.
I remember, I heard wrestling.
I'm scared. Holy what is this?
So this is my company view of all the workload. And then this is my dev team's workload. And then this is my workload, and these columns need to be blank, because that's approval pendings and overdue tasks. And then my weekly tasks are here, and my tasks are here, and then this is a different vignette that looks at everything's being completed in the company, and then everything's rolling across it. But that's my dashboard for work getting done in the company, and I can track it, and I can rig this and show it in any kind of different layout or different way you want to see it. I've got it in a Kanban style, just because that's easier for what's going on, but that's my system.
So Jerry just implemented that for Beyond Influence, this system called Reich, and it's man, it makes a difference.
I think you guys solved the problem of overwhelm looking at it. This is a massive amount of tasks that are just.
This is my inbox, and it's clear. There's nothing that I have to do. Everything's being monitored though, and I won't miss anything. There's thousands of things in there, and they're all on rails with time commitments, accountabilities, workloads. I can see bottlenecks, and then time associated, and then ROI. We're connecting it. We haven't done it yet. We're connecting it to our FP&A, or financial planning and analysis platform, and then we'll actually do direct cost assignments by the time we do that manually now, but it's going to be automated, so then I can truly say who's making money for the company too.
So do you show people that on your sales calls?
I haven't, no.
Oh, by the way, Jerry, when I was at CUN Shoots yesterday, and I met their head project manager for that huge division, and so I asked the Jerry tool question. I said, what project management software are you using? Do you know what her answer was?
We don't have one.
Teams.
That's collaborative.
I know.
Yes.
So no wonder they're absolutely overwhelmed, because they're not. This is some of the most sophisticated people you've ever met.
Well,
So you and I are going to have a conversation with her, Jerry. I already teed that up.
And so Reich is integrated with Teams, because both are an open source code Python. And so they both are integrated deeply. And so we have them integrate. So if I do something in Teams, it hits Reich. If I do something in Reich, it hits Teams. And there's automations and triggers that work and just do things automatically. And then we've got AI, ML, RPA in there that runs that show to say, hey, can you do it faster, smarter, better, quicker in another way? And then it'll give you some summation saying, hey, you could set up something different, or I've already set it up for you to try it out. So it's kind of cool.
Okay, Jerry, you're not allowed to talk with acronyms.
I want to hire Jerry.
Well, double your business if you hired the John and Jerry show.
I would show that on a sales call to show people how damn efficient you guys can get things running.
Yeah, what it looks like control. That's actually brilliant, Casey. We never considered that, I don't think.
And here's the other thing is, because the second you ask the question and give the answer, so in one sense, there's a follow-on, this question, are you overwhelmed? Here's the answer. And then the follow-up question is, yeah, but you don't have time to learn the system. And we literally have a break from Yellow Brick Road. So, John, we brought on Right for John for Beyond Influence, and Derek is one of his contractors. And I think about a 2 or 3 week time, we have him at a champion level in Right. And he's got 3 businesses. Is that right, John? He has, I think, 3 different things that he does. He has Beyond Influence.
Who, Derek?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has 3
And so
companies.
within about 2 or 3 weeks, he became a champion in Reich. And so it's really easy, paint by numbers, how to learn it.
Yeah, so can you imagine if you guys walk into an organization that has a number of problems? Because when we talk about our sales training, John and Jerry, I'll walk you through like the way that we go through a free call or a sales call. And it starts with identifying what do they want first, right? Dream. And then we ask them, what is your biggest obstacle? Where do you need support? What areas are you bumping up against? Right? And then we ask, what is your biggest priority? But then we have all this data. The north side of the gap is what they want. What's their dream? You know, right? What are the targets they want to hit? Down here is their obstacles, right? Where they're stuck. And then all you have to do is show how you are the gap, how you fill the gap, right?
Well, that's what we said. We say skills gap and time gap is what we fill.
Right. So if they lay out what they want, their objectives and where they're stuck, and then you can show them your system, like you just showed me, right? If you can show them that project management, and then you can show that direct outcome, if you can show the outcomes from that organization of systems, and you can show the direct outcomes, there's no one in the freaking world that wouldn't hire you.
So say that one more time for me. I
Yes.
apologize, but I just want to hear it because I'm just thinking about a bunch of things now. Could you just lay it on me one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. I know this is very high level, and I know my concepts are large. Okay, so I'm happy to expand. I'm just totally kidding. What my thinking on this, you guys, on how you win every sales call, if they're a good fit, right? You pull out, what are all your objectives? Just give me a list of everything you want to accomplish within your company, right? So you have that as the north side of the gap. Then you ask them, okay, where are all the places where you're hitting obstacles, stuck? Where do you need support? Then they'll give you that list. And then I always ask them, what's your biggest priority? Because they never say their biggest priority when they're saying all that other stuff. They're always kind of holding it back here. They go, oh, you want my priority? Oh, there it is. And then you have the hot button lever on what that decision maker needs to have happen now, right? So once you understand the dream, the obstacles, and the priority, you say, you can talk about your journey, right? Like this is like your process. You say, by the way, one of the things we do is we take everything that you said, well, not yet. One of the things we do is we implement what we call our right system, whatever you want to call it, right? And then Jerry shows this is everything that's happening. This is how, just like you just showed me just now, Jerry. You say, yeah, I understand this may look a little busy to you. That's okay, because we're gonna run it for you, or we're gonna teach you how to run it. It's not that hard. But here's the beauty of it. When we implement this system, right, you see a bunch of tasks here, right? And you see an organization workflow and a systems workflow. But let me show you how this translates. and then you show how that system ties to all the outcomes that they said they want and needed and their biggest priority. That makes sense?
That's really good. That's really good. So then we show the system, and then what we do is we come in and we show this, and this is accounting software, CRMs, cap table, FP&A, all this stuff, and we integrate all these things. So they're like, oh, we use Oracle NetSuite, yeah, we've got that. We use ADP, yeah, we integrate that. Yeah, we use, whatever they use. So all these things in the FP&A space, these are all integrated. I use Stripe, that's fine. Yeah, that's in our system. We're deeply integrated bi-directional. So because that's the next question they'll say is, oh yeah, but we use a lot of different tools. I'm like, yeah, it's all integrated. So
Right.
all these tasks are attached to these actual these software packages and platforms are inside my system because we're deeply integrated. Bi-directional integration, deep integration.
Yes. If you go back to your other screen of the right, I would literally, that other screen with all the programs and everything, that might fuzz them out. They might go, what is it like? And when you use those words like bi-directional, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
It's like, hey, here's a bowling ball covered in KY jelly. Why don't you hold this for me?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I think when you get into that, you're starting to talk about how the airplane's made versus
Good.
we can get you to your destination, right?
Yeah. So you literally are gonna like literally go, okay, remember when you said you wanted this thing? This is how right solves that. Remember when you said you wanted this thing? This is how right. You're gonna literally
That's good.
tie it to all the things they said they wanted and needed.
That's great. That's great.
And they go, holy shit, you can do that? You say, yeah.
Well, the other thing too, Jerry, is if they're not using right, but let's say they're an Epic, you can tell them we've done this in right, but all the principles are the same. We can implement this for you in the system you have. You don't have to learn a new system.
Yeah, because it's agile methodologies, and I'm a Scrum Master, and it's just, that's what it is. The Scrum Alliance, that's all it is Scrum agile methodology. So any project management system can be done in.
That's right. That's awesome. That's like your elevator pitch, right? All room and audience. Welcome back, everybody. You guys missed a really fun conversation. We'll update you on it later. But I'm so glad. How was everyone's afternoon? Is everyone feeling pretty good, productive? Good. I'm so glad. And for anyone who's like, it was good, but I still feel like I have so much to do. That's okay. Like, that's a really normal feeling to have at the end of day one. Day one of brand DNA is a lot, like we say, the whole brand DNA is some heavy lifting, but day one is like a lot of the internal stuff, right? It's like, who am I? What was I put on this earth to do? Who am I doing it for? And all of those different pieces, like reflecting back on your past self, a lot of it can feel intense and sometimes heavy, and it can make you go, what am I doing with my life? But know that tomorrow is a new day, and while we will have plenty of time tomorrow morning to kind of reflect on what you've done today, really kind of level setting in your small group before we tackle tomorrow we are really turning our corner into more outward facing work, right? We spent all of today really thinking about ourselves and how we're implicated in the world around us, and tomorrow we're gonna think through, what are we offering? Like, what is that offer structure? Like, what is what we call our golden grid? Like, where is our focus? What have we created to put into the world? How much time is that taking? How much are we charging? And where are we shifting to long term? Like, we're really prioritizing some of our monetization, which is everyone's favorite. They're like, we're here to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. We want you to make money too. But what does that look like? And then we're going to talk a little bit about positioning you, like, outwardly in marketing, of kind of now that you know where you're heading and who you're serving, really doubling down on those key qualities about you that set you up and position you for people to just take and grab and be like, that's what I want right there. It's so clear that this person can help me. And so tomorrow is a little bit more outward facing, and we do that on purpose, of just to kind of give you kind of a sigh of relief of like, man, I've done some really deep, good work today. We're gonna take that into tomorrow, but we're gonna be doing some real like shifting kind of into outward marketing, which is really exciting and fun. I'm gonna share my screen here for a second, because it wouldn't be Brain Builders Group without some action items. So these are some action items that I want you to focus on before tomorrow if you want to. I know that it's a big day. Some of you were like, stick a fork in me in about 5 minutes, I'm done, and I'll see you in the morning. That's okay too. But I would love for each and every one of you guys did this so well this morning. Connect offline with one person you met today. And by offline, I mean just off of Brain Builders line, right? Connect in different social platforms. Connect via email, right? If you go into the member directory, there's all sorts of ways to get in touch with every single person in this room. I really want you guys to be connected. You know, we have a saying, I've said it before, make friends before you need them. Like, these are deep, meaningful relationships that you make here at Brain Builders Group. And guess what? They're really powerful, and they can take you a long way or introduce you to people you never thought you would ever meet. And it's really magical. So I'm really urging all of you to do that in the member directory, in the app, or offline as well. I would love for you to jump into the app and the social feed and post one thing you got from today. Was there an aha moment? And you can post that in the chat too, because I'd love to hear if there's anything just top of mind you're like, that was so good for me, or man, that exercise was tough, but it really had me thinking and I'm on the right path. I would really love for you to jump in there, tag your roundtable host, tag people in your group in that social feed post. It's really good to get connected that way and to share and have the whole rest of Brain Builders Group hold you accountable and celebrate some of those wins. Would also love if you want to share your experience today on any platform you want and tag Brain Builders Group. We will reshare. We'd love to see that as well and share it with our community inside and outside of BBG. I would love for each of you to do one thing. I want you to take a minute and I want you to think of the one thing that you can do between now and tomorrow morning that is going to make you feel ready for tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central. Maybe that is going to bed early, or having a delicious dinner, or a glass of wine. Maybe it's diving back into your one-word problem and cause. Maybe it's connecting with people online. But what is that one thing that you want to make sure you do leaving this session today? There's no wrong answer. Wim Hof, great, yes. Do some Wim Hof breathing. I love it. So good. Hot yoga, wow, you guys are so good. And then there's wine. It's all about balance, y'all. Wim Hof, wine, yoga, no wrong answers, right? We're gonna work out, have a cigar. Y'all, I love how this group is so balanced. It's really kind of beautiful. Work out and a cigar right after each other. Pilates, so good. Whatever works best for you is where I want you to spend that time to really prepare yourself for tomorrow. And then of course to have a really great night. I'm gonna leave you with this before we come back tomorrow. I'm gonna share my screen here and play, come show you a little something. So let me get here, let me play from current slide. And I am gonna share my screen with you right now. Okay, so how many of you all know who this person is right here? Does anyone know who this woman is? Anybody? This is kind of like how we ask you, who are the swimmers? You know, if you've seen that in some of the trainings. Yeah, some of you are like, who is this person? I'm like, who is this? Like, she's also here next to someone super famous. Some of you might know who this person is a little bit more readily, right? It's Richard Branson. It's kind of a mogul in and of himself. Has done a lot in the world and is pretty incredible the things he's been able to do. This person's name is Shannon Sedgwick Davis. And she is a best-selling author. She has also founded a nonprofit called the Bridgeway Foundation. So when she was younger, she really had a heart for injustice. Her mom used to say Shannon was everywhere where there was a need. Shannon wanted to figure out how to fill it. When Shannon became a young adult, she saw some of the atrocities that were happening across the globe, specifically in Uganda, with the Lord's Resistance Army and Joseph Kony. Just, they were kidnapping children left and right and turning them into child soldiers. At that time, she had 2 toddlers. her heart was just bleeding, but she's also a doer. She's a lawyer. Like, she is very determined. And so she went to Uganda and she started to listen and she started to ask questions. And then she partnered with people like Richard Branson. She'd started this nonprofit foundation. She got a little bit, people started to know her for the good work she was attempting to do in other countries. Like I said, focused, determined. She's from San Antonio. She's a friend of mine. She lives here in San Antonio, Texas. And so she became good friends with Richard Branson. She developed a process for partnering with the Ugandan and the African armies. She had to go through the State Department of the United States. Didn't think she'd get approved. They totally approved her because she knew the only way that she could help these children in a foreign country was to enable their armies to support. So she said she would land in a helicopter in the middle of Uganda being like, I'm supposed to start telling an army what to do. Like, I have never been prepared to do that in my life. But she, along with support from a lot of people, was able to defeat and take down Joseph Kony and the Lord's Resistance Army. She wrote a whole book about it. It's insane. Like, what she was able to do with just drive, focus, and determination is amazing. And now she's had partners. Like, she was on the phone the other day texting with Kim Kardashian, which is funny, but Kim Kardashian kind of has a spirit of trying to do some injustice stuff too. But I mean, Shannon, no one knows who Shannon is, but the work she's been able to do is amazing. What's Kim's number? Let me see if I can get it for you. But she's been able to partner with people like Richard Branson. She's been in Ukraine this entire year. She's doing stuff here, stateside. Like, she's just amazing. She's an incredible human being. And someone asked her recently, when you were younger and you started to do this stuff, even as a child and entering young adulthood, like, what did your mom say to you? Was she just like, what in the world? All of us want our children to do big things in the world, but landing in a helicopter with an African army to take down a warlord is not exactly what we think of when we're thinking about sending our children into the world. And she said this, and it's this quote right here. She goes, my mom believed in me and she saw the spirit and the tenacity I had. And so she would always tell me to pursue the things that make your heart beat a little bit faster. Pursue the things that make your heart beat a little bit faster. And Shannon did. And she's been able to have focus. She's been able to have success. 780 children who had been brought into this army, who had been children fighting for this terrible person for decades, escaped and came out of the woods to rejoin their communities. It's amazing what she's been able to do, and she's done it all over. But it all came from her mom telling her, you know what, Shannon, just pursue the things that make your heart beat just a little bit faster. And I love that story because it really applies to anyone that's mission driven. And that's every single one of you, that you are taking a step out in faith to do the thing that makes your heart beat a little bit faster. Out of passion mostly, out of nervousness a little bit. But man, when we decide and commit to and focus on the things that make our heart beat faster, what outcomes can happen for us? It's really incredible. There's nothing you cannot do when you pursue it with focus, passion, and attention, right? And drive. And so we are here for you because you guys have all committed to following that thing that makes your heart beat a little bit faster. And we know how that feels too. And we are so thrilled to partner with you in that endeavor and to watch you pursue those things with drive and focus and passion and tenacity. So thank you for inviting us into that journey with you. We are excited to watch that unfold, and that starts today and it continues tomorrow and for the rest of this year with us, and we're thrilled to be a small part of it. You guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you at 9 a.m. Central Time tomorrow on the Zoom. Enjoy your cigars, your wine, your Pilates, your hot yoga, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everybody. See y'all later.
Woo! Thank you.
Y'all have a great evening, everyone.
Woo! Let's freaking go, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Holy smacks, that was like over 3 hours. I have another meeting at 6 o'clock, but I'm gonna chill a little bit. Got 12 minutes. Love you. Godspeed and have an amazing day.